One man is being victimized by our own government. One man whom they fear, yet whom millions love. One man who is willing to take the poison arrows of lawfare. One man whose voice has been taken away by a corrupt judge operating in a corrupt system. One man who has been ridiculed and insulted. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who stands between us and them. One man that wants to see America protected again. One man who wants to see America prosper again. One man who understands that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. One man who understands and protects the blessing of life. One man who wants to restore American exceptionalism. One man who once again wants to make America that shining city on a hill for all to see. A place where all the people of the world glowingly set their eyes upon. America. One man who unashamedly wants to make America great again. That one man is Donald Trump.
This is Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
Good early evening, everybody. Had a great Sunday. Hope you guys are having a great Sunday. Yes, of course, the Miami Dolphins lost yet again, but nonetheless, we watch. We just continue to accept the pain of being Miami Dolphins fans down here in South Florida. It's absolutely insane, but we go to the games, we give them our money, and they give us nothing in return. Sort of like a no kings protest. You don't get anything out of it. You just go, you show up, you do crazy dances, you talk a lot of crap, and the next day, it doesn't matter. You just go about your life. So I hope you guys have had a great Sunday. Today, this morning, Robin and I went to the beach. I put up a video earlier. It was awesome. Saw this guy who had a 1961 custom Volkswagen pickup, I guess you could call it. And right while we were there, somebody offered him $100,000 cash to buy it. And he said, nope. I'm like, I love the Trump economy. I absolutely love it. So I just want to give you a little bit of a programming note and let you know what we're going to be doing here. First and foremost, we're going to cover President Trump's interview this morning with Maria Bartiromo from Fox. It was a very insightful interview. I think you will glean some stuff. We'll watch, we'll take notes, we'll talk about it, and then we'll dig into it. And then many of you, well, I hope not, but I bet some of you at that point will depart. Because once we're done talking about the interview with Maria Bartiromo, then we're going to talk money. We're going to talk real estate. We're going to talk different things you can actually do starting basically tomorrow to begin changing your life. And I can say that with full confidence because I have spoken to many people. I used to tour the country showing people what they can do to change their life. And I'll get into that as we get to that section. I'll put up a big warning. Now we're going to talk about prosperity. Now might be the time for you to disconnect because we know some people are like, I don't want to hear it. But that's okay. To each his own. no skin off my back. I'll continue buying real estate, and some of you will continue or look to buy some. And then again, some of you guys will buy gold and silver and stocks and everything else. So on Sundays, before the week starts, especially if it's slow news, let's start talking about doing something to help each other move forward with their lives and do something better. In addition, I want to tell you, I don't know if SB is here yet. Oh, yeah, I see so he's here. In Roaring Rage, they're not going to take any crap. Once we move into the prosperity section, we start talking about investing. If you don't like it, do yourself a favor and exit. That's all I'm going to say. Don't come in here and poo-poo other people who have aspirations of doing something better for themselves. Otherwise, you're probably going to get the boot, and then you're going to send an email, go, I didn't do nothing. You know how many times we hear that? I didn't do nothing. Well, I'm telling you in advance, if you don't have any interest whatsoever in talking about interchanging, asking questions. See, one of the things I want to do this afternoon too, after President Trump, I want to make it as engaging as possible. I thought about, why don't we do an AMA? If you guys have never been into an AMA session, a video session, AMA stands for Ask Me Anything. And that way, I can look at some questions and take some questions, give you answers as I have them. And if I don't have the answer, I can direct you to somebody who does. And we can spend some time doing that after the news section here with President Trump. So we'll get into that, and I hope some of you will stay. Some of you, many of you probably will depart. And I designed it this way so that we could do that. We can do some news now for the people who want to come in, and it's like a big Chinese buffet. You want to eat from this section of the buffet, fine. And then when we change over, if you've had enough, you can depart without poo-pooing on anybody else. So, in that regard, let's begin. President Trump went on Sunday mornings, whatever she calls it, with Maria Bartiromo, and he held an interview, and we're going to cover that right now in case you haven't seen it. There are some eye-opening moments here. Let's jump in.
President Trump, the president for peace. 9 months into his second term, the commander-in-chief is taking on the ruthless, the criminal, and the biggest terrorists of all. From narco-terrorists in Venezuela and Mexico to bullies and killers in Russia and Gaza. I met with the president this past week in his first interview since his historic peace deal in the Middle East, where he effectively ended the war in Gaza. And it was just hours after a 2.5-hour phone call he had with Vladimir Putin, as the president is now turning his sights toward ending the war on Ukraine. But in the middle of his peace negotiations and a meeting with Special Envoy Steve Witkoff, the president first zeroed in on American families, announcing in the Oval Office more price cuts for prescription drugs and easier access to fertility medication. I was honored to join the pool reporters in the Oval Office to hear the president's progress.
Oh, look who we have. Look at the great Maria Bartiromo. I didn't know. Did you get put into the regular pool pack? That's very good. Yeah, that's good. Nice to see you. I was so proud of myself because I was the first president in 28 years where drug prices went down for the year. And you know what? They went down 1/8 of 1%. But I was so 1/8 of 1%. Now I'm getting them down, Maria, 500, 600, 800%.
And after the press conference, the president joined me in the Roosevelt Room, where he took us behind the scenes of his historic peace deal in the Middle East.
It started probably with Soleimani. He was a mastermind who did a lot of bad things. He's the father of the roadside bomb that would blow up, and most of the people are great patriots, are great soldiers that you see without arms, legs, and lots of problems. He was the one. That was his way of saying, we don't like you too much, and affected a lot of people. That started one. But I think very big was recently with the taking out of the nuclear weapon from Iran. When we blew those beautiful B-2 bombers, when they went into Iran airspace and they came out unscathed. I mean, the whole thing was the most beautiful military operation. They flew for 37 hours. We had everything. And they went into that and they bombed the hell out of it. And when we destroyed their nuclear capability, they no longer became the bully of the Middle East. And we hit them a lot of other ways, along with it, Israel. And they no longer became the bully. And if they were, we wouldn't have been able to make the deal we just made, which is basically peace in the Middle East, beyond Gaza, peace in the Middle East. And all of those great Arab nations, I mean, you look at Saudi Arabia and Qatar and UAE, those three, and then you have the ones that, as you know, joined the Abraham Accords, but they were able to breathe, they were able to do what they had to do, and they've been fantastic. But if we didn't take out the nuclear, there's no way that we would have been able to do this.
And I spoke with you right after that strike on the nuclear facilities, and you were so complimentary, obviously, of our pilots.
Yeah.
But you also have relationships in the Middle East. You went to the Middle East as your first international trip as president. So was there some cajoling that you did with the leadership of Qatar and the leadership of UAE to get them to make the case to Hamas, it's over?
So I've been friendly with them for years, and actually I became somewhat friendly during my first term, but I was friendly with some of them before I was a politician. And, you know, it's vast wealth. Those countries are, you know, incredibly wealthy. And they put out money, they invest money, et cetera, et cetera. They have tremendous oil wealth. So I knew a lot of them before, but I got to know them very well during the first term, and really well, you know, now, but I got to know them very well during the first term. Qatar, as an example, the Emir, who's a fantastic man. Tamim, he's like a really fantastic person. And, you know, he's in the middle of a very tough little area because he's sort of surrounded by every little problem. And he has to play it close to the vest a little bit. He has to. Anybody would. Anybody that's smart, and he's very smart. The king of Saudi Arabia has done unbelievable. Now you have the king, and then you have the son who is... The king is fantastic. He's got a son who is phenomenal, who you know,
MBS.
Mohammed. And Mohammed's going to be a great leader for many years. And then you have UAE, and he's incredible. They're all incredible people. But sometimes people don't realize that, and they really helped us a lot. Qatar's the one that's most, you know, vulnerable in that sense because it was right next to Iran, but they had great courage. And the bottom line is we got it done, and we did something that nobody thought was possible. We created, you know, it's peace in the Middle East, and I think we're going to get Russia done. I think that'll be, it's not easy. I thought that would have been the easiest one, have a good relationship with President Putin. I've always had. Don't forget, he had to go through the Russia hoax. That made it very difficult for us in terms of trade or other things. That hoax was just a disgrace. So now we have the war. The first time we had that, and now we have the war. But there's a great potential for trade there. And I hope that we're going to be successful. Ukraine has been very brave.
Well, you came at the peace deal with the Qataris as a business person. You were a business person before the commander-in-chief. So is that the case you made for the Qataris to explain it to Hamas? Think prosperity, think peace, think riches, business.
You know, I don't have to make too much of a case because they're very smart people. And frankly, if Iran stayed strong, you know, like as a military threat, I wouldn't have even asked them. There's nothing, you know, it's right, they're neighbors, right? They're right next to you. You literally would walk into one or the other.
You know, one of the things when I was watching this, as I've watched President Trump over the years and studied him before he became president, he truly feels that if people can share in prosperity, not redistribution, they will become a better society, a better people. So now he's doing the same thing that he's trying to do here. The Democrats won't have it. The Democrats do not want a prosperous America. It is absolutely the opposite, the antithesis of everything they stand for. They cannot survive as a party if people begin to even look to be prosperous. Never mind attain it. If people get the motivation and ambition and say, look, you can do this. You don't need the government. Then there is no Democrat Party. And so President Trump is now taking that same message And why it's so important today on Prosperity Sunday, he's taking that same message to these other countries. Hey, do you want to live in dirt and rubble? Do you want to live in this hellhole? Or can I show you how you can really exist in this society, really exist as a people, and be prosperous? For too long, too many people have thought prosperity to be a bad word. Something that, only the millionaires and billionaires, it's only those guys. Not really that prosperity is just a definition. But telling people they shouldn't strive for it, you deserve to live in rubble? You deserve to live in Chicago in crime? You deserve to live in Portland in crime? You deserve to live in squalor in Washington, D.C.? See, the message that he's giving, which a lot of people don't realize, it's the same message he's giving here. And he's getting the same resistance elsewhere as he gets here, because these people cannot rule the population without the population needing to beg and be given things. Almost like a little birdie. You can't do anything until mommy spits in your mouth. I just want you to keep that ideology in your head as we move forward today, that completely different shift that has to happen, not just here, but around the world. And this is the message he's bringing to these countries, which is why it's freaking out these other countries as well. A prosperous society doesn't rely on government, which is the foundational pillar of everything the Democrats want.
So it was really the decimation of Iran that got us there. Without that, we couldn't have gone to the next step. And then we went to the next step, and now we have a deal. And I think it's a deal that catches on. It's a deal that's respected by everybody. We had Arab countries, Muslim countries. We had everybody. Israel approved this deal. Bibi was very brave. Bibi was a great warrior.
And yet, as soon as you left, Hamas executed 7 people, and then they went on to execute 30 more.
Yeah.
Do you believe they really will disarm?
Well, they promised they would. They said they would. It's down that they would. Now, they said they were gang members, et cetera, But these are very violent people. This is a very violent part of the world. Nobody's seen violence like this. If we have to, we'll disarm
The
them.
U.S.?
Well, whether it's me or the U.S. or it's, a proxy, could be Israel, with our backing. We won't have boots on the ground. There's no reason to.
In the past, you've said Gaza could be beautiful. It could be developed, and you said you wanted to develop it.
Well,
Do you have plans for that?
Not me as an individual.
The U.S.?
I liked it as like Freedom Place. You call it Freedom Place. And we would get all of the people that live there into decent homes throughout the region. If you look, Egypt has a lot of land. Jordan has a lot of land, right next door. A lot of countries have a lot of land. So I had an initial vision that we would get them. Look at Gaza. I mean, there's nothing standing. The whole thing it's all rubble. So it's not too hard to top that.
It's not too hard to top that. Take that same message and apply that to Baltimore and Washington and Chicago and Cleveland. Look at your cities. They look like crap. All you've got to do is elevate. And if you elevate, just think about what you can do in your cities. I'm telling you, the people, the mullahs and stuff that are making the people subjugated over there in Gaza, this freaks them out. What do you mean women going to take off the hijab? You ever see pictures of what Iran used to look like? One day take a stroll down history lane and look at Iran before these mullahs took over. There were beautiful people, happy people, people prosperous. President Trump gave this same message to Rocket Man over in NOCO. And said the same thing. Dude, this could be beautiful. And I'm thinking to myself, why don't people have that vision? Oh, I can't have that vision because if other people get the same way, then they don't need me. meaning the despot, the person who's being dictatorial. It's so funny watching this No Kings protest thing happen yesterday, and I saw video after video after video of people going, what exactly are you protesting? And they couldn't put it into words, but the words that these people are being told is that he's an authoritarian, when that's completely the opposite, because an authoritarian, a fascist, a Nazi, wouldn't want you to have prosperity. These people are too stupid to realize the people telling them that he's the bad guy are the prosperous ones. The J.B. Pritzker's worth $10 million. The AOC is worth $8 million or whatever. The Bernie Sanders, the Elizabeth Warren's worth $200 million. Nancy Pelosi, $200 million. And they're telling you he's the bad guy. Well, the bad guy wants me to change my life. The bad guy's like, what do you have to lose? You don't have anything to lose. Nothing. In fact, most of you who stay for the rest of this, are you going to find out that the biggest commitment that you have to make, forget the money, the biggest commitment that you're going to have to make, the same commitment that people in Gaza are going to have to make, the same commitment people in Baltimore are going to have to make, is that you deserve prosperity. To understand that, wait a minute, this fits. Wow, I like this. I can do this. Wow, I can't imagine what things are going to feel like just because I'm going to change my mindset. So you got people over there living rocks and rubble, and you're like, you're fighting over this? Imagine a giant hotel over there. And you may not own a hotel, but you could, do some things, and you could be a pool attendant, or you can open up a coffee shop or something. And you can't even cross their minds. What do you mean? I can't do that. They won't let me. That's the idea. Start pointing this stuff out to people and going, why aren't you Well, what do you mean you can't? As soon as you say you can't, you're done. As soon as you tell yourself, oh, it's not for me because I can't, call it. Call it a day. You've lost. When you're seeing these Democrats run around during these protests, these are all people who've given up. You understand what they're really fighting for, what they're really protesting for that they can't articulate? What they're really saying is, I've given up and I need the government to take care of me. That's what they're saying. They won't mouth the actual words, but these people who are truly Marxists and communists and everything else, they want to sit back either by their own volition or they've been brainwashed into thinking it's rigged. I can't tell you how many times I've had conversations with people on X and people are like, it's rigged, man, you don't even realize it. That's a good thing. When somebody said that to me, you don't even realize it, it's rigged. That's when you know you have to change the script. You have to quickly go, you're right, I don't realize it. I don't ever want to realize it. Since you realized it, it's put you in a box. You're the one who's in prison when you say it's rigged. The rest of us are like, okay, if that's how it is, maybe I could hire you to take the garbage out or something. It's not rigged.
And we'd build houses and it would be paid for by the wealth of the wealthiest countries are there. Although if we win the tariff case, which hopefully we will, it's vital to the interests of our country. We're the wealthiest country there is. If we don't, we'll be struggling for years to come. I've ended, of the 8 wars that we just mentioned, 5 of them have been ended because of tariffs. The threat of tariffs, as an example, kept India and Pakistan, 2 nuclear nations, from going at it. They were going at it. 7 planes were shot down. That's a lot. And they were going at it, and that could have been a nuclear war. And the Prime Minister of Pakistan actually just said, President Trump saved millions of lives by him getting that. And I said to India and Pakistan pretty much the same thing. I said, look, if you're going to fight each other, I'm not going to do business with you. We're going to put on a 200% tariff, which will make it impossible for you to deal. And we're not going to do business. No, no, no. They said, no, no. And after 24 hours, I settled the war. because I settled it through trade.
I want to get back to that because I want to talk a little about your backup plan should that not go your way. But just to close the loop here, so are there plans for the U.S. or for yourself to help develop Gaza?
We are going to have a board of peace. You heard about it. And they've asked me to be the chairman. This is what I needed, another.
So she's a smart reporter. And she's like, are you guys going to go in and develop Gaza? Yeah, well, this board that we're putting together, winkety wink, me and a bunch of other people, yeah, we can. We want to go in there. These people don't know how to do it. They're still fighting with rocks and stuff. By the way, when you think of everything that's happening with these countries that he's gone in and he's able to stop the wars, what has been the reason these people, one, were fighting beforehand, and number two, why did they stop fighting? Well, number one, I don't think they realized why they were fighting. In fact, may have been part of our own, impetus getting some of these people to fight. But what he's walked in and says, hey, knuckleheads, knock it off. You know how much money we're talking here? What do you mean? Whoa, hey, moolah boolah, yeah. If we do this, you're going to make gazillions. And then you'll make gazillions. But the only way this happens, if the two of you knock it off. I will make sure that you guys are wealthy beyond means and your people are wealthy beyond means from where they are now. All you got to do is just stop. And I could just imagine the conversations. What do you mean? Just shut up. You go do you. You go do you. Stop the fighting and see all this crap that you got? Here, look at these renderings. And I'm thinking, that's what's going to happen in Ukraine. See, Zelensky's coming here asking for more money to fight. And he's like, no. I'm not giving you more money to fight. But what's going to happen when it's over, and I guarantee you this is coming. When it's over, all those shelled out buildings and everything else, we're going to have a team come in here and we're going to redevelop this. And so she knows she's a business reporter, not like one of these idiot reporters. She's like, y'all going in there? Well, I can't really say right now. It's a board. It's a whole bunch of us. It's not me. It's not the United States. But that's exactly what he's thinking. And so Mr. Art of the Deal here is walking into these people, and how you know this to be true is what are the words he says. Well, we talk about trade. Well, what does trade mean? Moolah. We're going to help you trade. We're not going to sit here and watch you guys lob bombs at each other. That's so old school. That's what you guys did before when our CIA used to come in here and do these color revolutions. I'm coming in with a different color revolution, if you catch my drift. And this color revolution is green.
But it's very important that to me, peace in the Middle East is a big thing. I've heard the term all my life, peace in the Middle East. For 3,000 years it hasn't happened.
When you spoke to Vladimir Putin, did you tell him that you were considering sending Tomahawk missiles to Ukraine? Are you still seriously considering that?
Well, I've been asked by Ukraine if they could have Tomahawks, and I'm looking at it. I spoke with Vladimir Putin about it, and not that he would be thrilled. It's a violent, vicious weapon. But we have to remember one thing. We need them for ourselves, too. We can't give all of our weapons to Ukraine. We just can't do that. And I've been very good to President Zelensky and to Ukraine, but we can't give, if we're going to be short, I don't want to do that. I can't jeopardize the United States.
Did you get any sense from Putin that he would be willing or open to the idea of ending this war without taking significant property from Ukraine?
Well, he's going to take something. I mean, they fought, and he has a lot of property. I mean, he's won certain property. If you say that, he's won certain property. We're the only nation that goes in and wins a war and then leaves, like we did under President Bush in the Middle East. We go in, we blast the hell out of everybody, destroy the place, and then we leave, Remember, I used to say, keep the oil. But I really didn't say, I said two things. I said, don't go in. But then they went in. And I said, well, don't go in, but if you're going to go in, keep the oil. But we didn't keep the oil.
Now, why would he say that? If you're going to go in and do something here, you're spending money. You're not thinking about bringing money back to the United States. What's the easiest way to bring money back? Get that oil. None of our other presidents, they go over and fight wars and just, okay, you can have whatever's here. Wait a second. Oh, by the way, you can have our airplanes and our tanks and everything else too. And Trump's the only one who says, you're going into a conflict. You should be letting these countries know if we have to come in, we're also coming out with something as well. We're not just going to go in and dump a whole couple billions of dollars and drop bombs all over the place and go, okay, we're done. No, we're going to say, we own this now. We have a flag and we're going to plant it here because you owe us for protecting you. And that was one of the things that they had a problem with in NATO. We've always been the person paying. We have never said, you got to pay us back.
What do? We go in, we blast it to pieces, and then we leave, Doesn't make sense, never made sense.
Is there a timeline to get Hamas to disarm, in your mind?
Not a timeline, not a hard line, but we're going to see how it all works out. They've lived there for a long time. They're very violent. As you understand, you've been covering it for a long time. But we're going to find out. Don't forget, 50,000 of them have been killed, okay? Mm-hmm. So they killed 1,200 people in the October 7th attack. It was an attack. They killed 1,200, but Israel can say that we killed 50,000, and so you'd say it's a whole new set of people, and it is. I mean, they get replaced by other people, young people, but we're going to find out. So it's not a hard timeline, but it's a line in my own mind, and at a certain point, if they don't do what they're supposed to do, then we'll have to do it for them.
Do you expect an expansion of the Abraham Accords?
I do. Almost soon. I don't want to use the word immediate, but soon. The Abraham Accords are a miracle in a way. And the 4 countries that went in initially, including UAE, highly respected, big and highly respected, they stayed in, and they're doing incredibly well. I mean, they're basically trading with Israel and have access and everything else. I mean, it's good for everybody. I hope to see Saudi Arabia go in, and I hope to see others go in. I think when Saudi Arabia goes in, everybody goes in, highly respected. And the Crown Prince, who's also the Prime Minister and the King in waiting, his father's such a wonderful man. He's still healthy, and he's still very sharp. But I think that they're going to all go in very soon.
So they've indicated to you a willingness to do so?
Oh, they have, even as recently as like yesterday. I had some very good conversations. Now, they couldn't have done it during the war. They couldn't have done it with the fight with, the fight that was going on with Iran as a power. With Iran as a power, that's why the 4 original countries really, they were somewhat courageous of them. And they did it with Iran as a power, and they made the right decision. And then they stayed during the war. A lot of people thought they'd have to get out. No, the Abraham Accords are amazing. It's amazing, and it'll help bring long-lasting peace into the Middle East. Nobody thought they were possible either, but the big thing is what happened over the last few days. It's been pretty much incredible. Just like your ratings are incredible, it's been incredible.
That's wonderful, Mr. President. Now, the Biden administration is saying that they're taking credit for the peace plan. Anthony Blinken said that they laid the groundwork for the peace deal before leaving office.
So let me just tell you how crazy it is. They backed Iran. They backed Iran totally. They deserted Israel. They deserted everybody. And they backed Iran. You know that. It started with Barack Hussein Obama. He went into Iran. And let's say that their idea worked. Then you would have right now a nuclear-powered Iran, because Iran was on its way to a nuclear weapon under these people. And so when we do it, rather than saying, although they did say congratulations. I mean, Biden said it. Hillary Clinton said
That's
it.
Right.
A lot of people said it. The only one that I heard say that was Blinken.
Right.
And Blinken didn't, he wasn't good at what he did. He was a lousy negotiator. And for him to try and take care, just so you understand, They did the exact opposite. They didn't say groundwork. They said the opposite of groundwork. They said traps, because they wanted, and they felt strongly that they wanted to back Iran over the rest of the Middle East. And they did it with Obama, and they did it with Biden. Now, Biden didn't know what the hell he was doing, so it didn't matter. But his people that surrounded him in the Oval Office, the people that worked the auto pen, the people that signed all those signatures illegally because he had no idea what was going on.
I just wanted to stop for a second and point that out. Throughout this interview, I think there's like 20 minutes left or so. Throughout this interview, he's going to be dropping some things that you really have to listen. And as you're listening, I believe, you may think otherwise, he's letting somebody, maybe them themselves, he's letting people know there's stuff coming. This auto pen, blah, 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 done illegally. And as he goes forward with this interview, he pretty much tells you, expect more indictments. Maria's very well, she's probably one of the better interviewers in the media, and she gets him to pretty much say that much.
So all those signatures that were signed, except his son's signature, I think he signed for Hunter. I think that was actually, because it wasn't nearly as neat as the auto pen. The auto pen was much better.
Coming up, a spiking aggression from communist China and the president's response. Stay with us for more of my exclusive interview with President Trump right here next.
I gotta ask you something. Do you know what a comet is? No, not that kind of a comet. A comet is a new AI-powered web browser from Perplexity. Let me ask you something. How much time do you spend every day on a web browser? How much time do you spend clicking around online, searching, scrolling, typing, having endless tabs open? That's a lot of stuff for you to handle and be able to go back and forth to find things. Well, stop it. You don't have to do that anymore. Comet will do that for you. Using Comet feels like having a personal assistant living in your web browser that can actually do things for you across the internet. It gives you answers. It finds things for you. For example, you can ask Comet to handle tasks, and it literally clicks, types, searches, and scrolls just like you would. But it's getting things done for you in the background while you go about your day. Comet can shop for you. It can make reservations. It can book your travel for you. It can summarize articles or videos. It can send emails. It can schedule meetings and a lot more to make your lifestyle much easier. Comet doesn't just give you answers. It gets things done. That's pretty cool. Very cool. It's AI that actually helps you in your daily life today. Before you automatically say no, because I know there's so many people who are so resistant to AI, try it. Actually, try it. You'll be shocked at how it will make your life so much easier. You're in full control of what Comet can do at all times. And if you download Comet today, you'll get 1 month of Rumble Premium for free. So this is the perfect time for you to get Comet. Get yourself your own digital personal assistant who will do stuff for you. Trust me, you won't believe how easy it is and how much time you'll save. I use Comet daily to help me find a lot of the news I bring to you guys. Download Perplexity's new AI web browser, Comet, by heading to http://pplx.ai/Barry. You'll see the link in the description below. And let your browser work for you. And remember, if you download Comet today, you get a month of Rumble Premium for free. Again, that's pplx.ai/Barry. Go now and take back your time online. Reclaiming my time.
I'm wondering what China is thinking right now. Did Xi Jinping congratulate you about the success of the peace deal?
Well, I heard he did. There was a statement put out, but
because in the middle of
I'm
it
meeting
all,
with him.
He squeezed the U.S. by tightening the export controls on rare earth minerals.
He did, and I raised our tariffs to 100% on top of what they're already paying, which is far worse, far worse. We'll see what happens with China. I've always had a great relationship with them, as you know. But they're always looking for an edge. You know, they ripped off our country for years. We're going to meet in a couple of weeks. We're going to meet in South Korea, actually, with President Xi and other people, too. But we're going to meet. We have a separate meeting set
Well,
up.
if you put that 100% tariff on top of what's in place already, you're talking about 157% tariff on
That's right.
China. Can that stand?
No,
What is that
it's-
going to do to the economy?
It's not sustainable, but that's what the number is. It's probably not, it could stand, but they forced me to do that. I think we're going to do fine with China. I get along great with him. He's a very strong leader, a very, amazing man. You look at what he's done and what he's, where his life is an amazing story. It's a story for a great movie. I think we're going to be fine with China, but we have to have a fair deal. It's got to be fair. And you cover it as well as anybody that's ever covered this subject. It's a very complex subject. But China has ripped us off from day one. And, Richard Nixon, he allowed this to happen. He was the one, he opened China. And I said, is that good or bad? You tell me. He unleashed it. And we have a very strong adversary, and they only respect strength.
Mr. President, you came into office with a real vision. You wanted supply chains in America.
Yeah.
On the rare earth minerals thing, I know that there are rare earth minerals, but it's the refining of the minerals that China has a lock on. How did we get here? I mean, for 10 years, you've been attacked by your enemies, political enemies, the Democrats, who've tried to take you down for 10 years, Russia, 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 and yet
Think
all
of
this
it. Isn't it
time,
amazing?
China has been eating our lunch.
Yeah.
Now, 90% of the pharmaceuticals that we need, underlying components, are made in China.
It's all coming back.
So how did we get here?
It's all coming back.
Well, how long is it going to take? How long is it going to take to get the supply chain?
The pharmaceuticals are coming back already. Again, tariffs. So essentially, I'm putting tariffs on pharmaceuticals unless they're made here. They're all coming back. Chips. I put big tariffs on chips unless they're made here. There's no tariff if they make them here. And all those companies are coming back from Taiwan. They're coming back from all over the world. And they're coming back fast. You know better than anybody else. $17 trillion. It could be $20 trillion by the end of the first year, my first year.
Investment in America.
Investing in America, $20 trillion. No country's ever done anywhere even near that, like a fraction of that. Biden did less than $1 trillion in 4 years. I did 20 trillion. We're going to do over 17 trillion in 8 months.
Okay, I got to stop there. Because what he just said there, again, in my estimation, is why the Democrats are fighting so hard. This guy is bringing in so much money. We're going to be rich, as my buddy Howard Lutnick says. And he's letting you know, just in 9 months, we brought in 17, 18 trillion dollars. These are numbers that are incomprehensible to the majority of the country. Where does 17 or 18 trillion dollars go? The answer to that question, as you start digging, is why the Democrats are freaking out. Because I'm convinced the road to no taxes is coming with these tariffs. The Democrats, again, cannot exist in a prosperous country. It doesn't work for them. They have to have people dependent. You have to have the benefits. You got to have the what do you call it? The SNAP, the food stamps. You got to have the bus pass. You got to have the free phone, the Obama phone. You got to have free internet. You got to have free this, free that, free that. What happens when you need to go to work and you get paid and you don't need the government to give you all of these things? Notice what they keep saying at every stump speech. Free health care, universal health care. He's taking health care. And I'm thinking to myself, is there anything else? Just try, Democrat. Ask some of your friends and coworkers, even family members, you guys got anything for people who aren't dead broke? And then just listen. Because I haven't seen a single politician anywhere talk about anything that helps improve people's lives who aren't dead broke. Think about that. You, me, we're not going to get free food stamps. We're not going to get the Obama phone. We're not going to get the bus pass. we're not going to get this and this and this and this. Their entire ability to govern is based upon a segment of the society that can't produce. Now, again, since I always have to do it, let me put the asterisk. Of course, if people are medically affirmed and can't do certain things or have mental issues and can't do things, then of course we should take care of them. We should take care of our vets. Vets should have a American Express Gold Card. If you lose a leg, an eye, or something like that, you should be, I want to buy that house. You got it. But tell me what the government, when I say the government, the Democrats are willing to do to anybody who's self-sustaining. I'll wait. You can put it in the chat if you can tell me what any Democrat politician is posturing in regards to what they can provide people who don't need government assistance. Because if you don't need government assistance and you're living a resourceful life for you and your family, the only thing you need from government is opportunity. Get out of my way. Most of you who are self-sufficient or retired, other than your Social Security, which they bribed you with for 40 years, besides that, you're probably in a position where there's nothing they can really say. Less taxes? Nope, they don't want to do that. So tell me what a Democrat politician can give you if you're not destitute. And I put that to people so many times over the last month. And I'm like, hey, let's make it easy. I could be wrong. Trump could be the worst thing ever. What are you offering to people who don't need food stamps? And then watch people just kind of contort themselves because there's no answer. There's no answer for the rest of America. The only answer they have is, well, if you're doing okay, we need to take more of what you got. And President Trump's like, I'm raising trillions, which completely upsets the apple cart that they've known their entire careers, Republicans too. What happens when you don't need government? And this is a question people are starting to have to ask themselves, including the politicians, and it's frightening. You mean I'll have to go get a job someplace? Remember how our founding fathers were in a different era. They would come to Washington, at a certain time to do the conventions and do the business of government. Then they'd go back home and work. They had businesses. It wasn't a full-time job where you got to hang out in Washington in swanky hotels with 12 different assistants and what? No. What do you need to do? See, the more these people stay, and I think we're seeing that with the shutdown, the more these people stay in Washington, the more they can hurt regular Americans. The less they're in Washington, right about now, 17 days today, 18 days? And most of America is sitting there going, well, what time's the next game come on? Honey, what's for dinner? Nobody cares. Nobody cares. It's this much of a population that's dependent upon government. And so, yes, many people are dependent upon Social Security. That's just how it became. What happens if you don't get that carrot in front of people's face from here until they turn 75 or whatever age it is? I don't even know because I don't care. And so the idea behind it is it takes all of their bargaining chips and their arguments off of the table. My grandson's 16. I hope he never even thinks about Social Security. Imagine if you didn't even put yourself in a position right now. You're stuck. You're in Social Security. But imagine if you didn't need Social Security. If you had all the money that they took out of your paycheck for the last 20 or 30 years and you invested it yourself, where would you be today? And then ask that question for your grandkid. Like, if he makes money and he invests it to himself and I can help him and show him what to do, by the time he's 60, he can do whatever he wants. That's what the Democrats are looking down the road going, oh, hell no. This guy, we can all see where he's going. If he's brought in 17 trillion, checking the clock here, in 9 months, then that equals, 4 times that. If he does 80 trillion in a calendar year, oh, hey, it's a whole different ball game. I don't think enough people are thinking about this. I'm thinking about it in the long term and short term. And he tells you, we brought in 18 million. No one's ever done that. We are seeing things done that nobody has ever seen in this country, and it's scaring the crap out of them. Because they know if he succeeds, they're done.
By the time we end, we could do over $20 trillion. There's never, in China, no matter where you go, there's never been anything like it. We are building up something that's unbelievable. And a big part of that are the tariffs, because they don't want to have to pay the tariffs, because it's so unsustainable that they come and build the pharmaceuticals and the chips and all of the things. They're coming into the United States and they're building them. It's a miracle what's happening. We are building the greatest country in the world, economically, greater than we've ever been before. But we do have a big decision, and that decision is coming up in the Supreme Court. And again, this is being fought by radical left lunatics that don't even know what they're doing, and people that represent foreign countries that have taken advantage of us for years. You know, tariffs have been used against the United States for years. And it would always bother me so much. I'd look and I'd say, how can they allow this to happen to our country? We lost 55% of our automobile business because of the fact we didn't use tariffs. Had we used tariffs, we wouldn't have lost anything.
What is your backup plan should the Supreme Court decision go against you on the tariffs and the emergency
Well, I'll have to figure something out. I don't want to even think about it. We're doing so well to think about it. You know, if that happened, we'd have to pay back money. So.
All right, so stop there. Understand this Supreme Court decision, which I don't see how they can go against it. But if the Supreme Court says, nope, you got to give all that tariff money back, make sure you've got bread, electricity, and everything else. Everything besides gold and silver are going to tank tremendously. And the fact that the Democrats want that to happen should tell you so much. Understand, President Trump is doing tariffs on other countries. The Democrats don't want United States putting a tariff on another country. But yet for decades, they have had no problem with other countries tariffing us. So what that should tell you as you sit back and listen to this is that there has been a grand design to destroy America. They wanted to take your money and do all kinds of different things with it and use us as the workhorses to help the world. That should really shock you at this point, that they're fighting the fact that he's charging tariffs to other countries, even though they're charging us. And we're talking about finance in such a way that the average person has never even heard this. Most people didn't know that we were paying tariffs to other countries. They didn't want that out in the public. They didn't want you to know that certain countries were charging us. Because right away, you would have said, well, why aren't we charging them? It only makes perfect sense, but these people are fighting it. They've sued to go all the way to the Supreme Court to stop him from charging other countries as they're charging us. It makes absolutely no sense. It is completely designed to take down America. They need your money to fund, as you've heard, some of the outrageous programs across the world, which obviously are coming back as kickbacks.
If anything would happen with that, that would mean they're allowed to use tariffs and we're not. If they took away, this is national security, if they took away tariffs, then they've taken away our national security.
Well, you've also been monetizing the balance sheet. You took a 10% stake in Intel.
That's right.
You're taking a stake in Mountain Pass, MP. I mean,
you know that Intel, I think we're up $40 billion since I made the deal. We made a big deal. And I didn't do it for myself. I did it. They came in to see me and I said, you know what, I think the United States should own 10% of your company. And they gave me 10%. And you know what, it's been good for them too. Their stock has gone up so much that they end up making a fortune. But we made $30 or $40 billion on that deal.
At that deal. The deal. Everything is about the deal. No one ever would have thought, wait, hey, why don't we just say, you want to do business here? Give us some money. And I can't imagine what the CEO and people were thinking. Did the president just say he wants 10% of our company? Yeah. And they probably looked, oh, can we get back to you? Sure. Like, this is a great deal. We now own 10% of that company. It's a perfect business model. And then the Democrats are all ticked off, but they don't know why. Hey, brought us in 40 or 50 billion in a couple of weeks. Is that bad? Because they've never been in business.
And the same thing with Mountain Pass. But in that case, it's because we want to get the rare earth refined.
Yeah, I mean, it was a national security emergency. Or are you looking to take stakes in other companies for other reasons?
Well, I'll give you an example. In Alaska, they have a road that we just approved, right? That was a big deal. They've been trying to get it done for, like forever. They can never get it done. And it's a very simple deal. So here comes the road. And at the end of the road is vast wealth that's owned by big companies, vast wealth, minerals. And I said, they came in with an agreement allowing the road to be built, environmentally, everything else, very complicated. We're going to build bridges. I said, so what are we getting out of it? Sure, you're getting minerals. I know, but we're opening up this part of the world that you were unable to even get to except by a helicopter. We're building a massive road. They're building it. We're making it possible to build. I said, so if we're making it possible to build, we should get a percentage of the things that are taken out. And my people looked at me and said, yeah, I never thought of that. I thought of that. Because you have to see this. Unbelievable wealth, unobtainable, can't get, we make it easily available. We're building a massive, hundreds of miles long, a gravel road into this incredible place of rare earth. And I said, we should own a part of that company. And then I do that and people criticize me. That's not the American way. It is actually the American way.
It is 100% the American way. Only a guy who's done what he's done, who knows business, is looking at this meeting and he's listening to the plans and he had the cojones to say, well, this sounds great. What do we get? And just think, nobody is used to a president going, hey, that sounds great. Oh, yeah, that'd be great for you. You guys would do fantastic. What do we get? Just being able to ask that question and know that you can ask that question is bringing billions into our country. Every other president and all their advisors, you can't do that. Why not? What prevents us from doing a deal to get more revenue because we're actually putting out expense? Now, the little insight to what he just said there. The insight into what he just said there is he's doing it on an ongoing basis. He is telling people, different countries, okay, we can do this. Yeah, okay. All right. What do I get? And I'm pretty sure, no, I'm not pretty sure. I am 100% positive. That's why the Democrats are freaking out about the shutdown. I have said it to you before. This isn't a negotiation, because the negotiation, you just heard it. What do I get? And the Democrats are probably sitting back going, well, we want to have this for this, and this for this, and this for this. Okay, what do I get? And they're stumped. They've never been in a position where when they were demanding something, somebody else said, I want something. I want voter ID. I want this. Give me something. And the Democrats aren't used to that position, and they don't even know how to negotiate. Oh, we need to come sit at the table. No, I don't. Until you tell me something sweet in the pot, let me know, then we'll talk. I'm going back to The Godfather. I think it was Godfather 2. And the big Don that was back there in the days of the 1940s, whatever, is Don DiMucci, whatever his name was. And like, just give me something, dip my beak. What? You got to give me something. And I'm positive the Democrats don't know what to give him.
And our country, we're going to be the richest country in the world. We just have to go this way. And all we need is a series of smart presidents. We can't have people like Biden or Kamala, people like that, low IQ people. We need smart presidents. And if we have smart presidents, the United States will be the richest country ever in history.
Coming up, we are entering a new week of the government shutdown, now into day 19. The president outlines the impact on the economy when we come back.
All right, give me a second here. Got to tell you about one of today's sponsors, and that's the MAGA low-cut sneakers. You ever see something and think, yeah, that's me? That's exactly how I felt when I first saw the Trump Never Surrender gold sneakers, the high tops. Now, I know some of you have seen the high tops. I've shown them before, but let's be real, high tops aren't for everybody. That's why I'm just as pumped about these new ones. They're low cut, they're more casual, more wearable, and just as bold. Sneakers you can throw on every day and still make a statement. And trust me, these aren't just shoes. These are conversation starters. The gold shine, the red, white, and blue accents. You're literally wearing your American pride. And let me tell you, nothing shuts down a woke lecture faster than walking in with these bad boys on your feet. But here's the thing, they don't just look good, they feel good. Comfortable, durable, lightweight. These aren't the kind of sneakers you'll leave in a box. So toss out your old dusty, worn out sneakers you've been wearing holes in and get yourself a pair of these bad boys right here. The best part, the message they convey, never surrender. Every time you put these on, it's a reminder, stand strong, don't back down, keep fighting for what you believe in. They also make the perfect gift. We all know someone who'd flip out if they unwrap these. Christmas season is coming, hint, hint. Whether they're a diehard Trump supporter, a collector, or just someone tired of wearing the same shoes as 20 other people in a room, head to themagaoffers.com/Barry15. That's the THEMAGA offers OFFERS.com/Barry15. Use that link for up to 15% off your entire order today. And I want to thank MAGA Offers. Now let's get back to the interview.
Welcome back. Protesters in Washington and across the country yesterday as Democrats try to cause chaos to push back on President Trump's agenda. The No Kings rally, funded largely by George Soros' Open Society Foundation, with more than $7 million awarded in grants to that group behind this particular protest. Despite the commander-in-chief's massive success these last 9 months, his opponents in the Democrat Party refused to support the Republicans' efforts to reopen government as we now enter day 19 of a government shutdown. The president has freed up funding streams for numerous critical programs, including funding the military and other pay for federal workers to be paid this week, despite the shutdown. But the ability to do so lessens the longer that this stalemate goes on. More now from the president on the impact.
I know that things feel like they're going well, but we don't have any data. The government is shut down. How long is this going to last?
Look, the Democrats are kamikazes right now. They're kamikaze pilots right now. They have nothing going. They have no future. They have incompetent candidates. I mean, I looked at Crockett, Jasmine Crockett. She's a very low IQ person. She's polling okay in the Democrat Party. I can't even believe it. AOC is... I watched her the other day. It's like, you got to be kidding. This is not going to make our country great. And for us to have a communist mayor, it looks like we're going to in New York. He's not a socialist. He's a communist. And it'll be very interesting. But remember this.
Are you going to endorse anybody in New York?
Well...
Cuomo or Sliwa?
Yeah, I guess I haven't made a decision, really.
Sounds like you're leaning towards somebody.
Well... I think it's not good to have a communist, okay? Would I rather have a Democrat than a communist? Barely. They're almost becoming the same thing.
What about a Republican, Curtis Sliwa?
Well, look, I mean, I don't know. He's a Republican. Is he really a Republican? Am I a big fan? This isn't exactly ideal where he wants to make Gracie Mansion a home for the cats. Gracie Mansion is a magnificent home of Fiorello, LaGuardia, and the great mayors, Rudy Giuliani. Yeah, Rudy Giuliani was the greatest mayor in the history of New York. He did a great job.
So you're going to get involved?
He went through hell. So I'll make a decision.
Soon?
Yeah, I guess.
It's only 3 weeks away. The mayor's race is 3 weeks away.
I don't know that I'm going to get involved. I don't want to be endorsing Democrats as an example. It's not my thing. But would you rather endorse a Democrat than a communist? Barely, because they're almost the same thing.
Well, Mamdani was on Fox the other day, and he would not give you credit for the peace deal. He said it's too early to tell.
I watched him a couple of times be interviewed, and he's pretty slick, but he doesn't have what it takes. He's doesn't have what it takes. The city will be in big trouble.
Mr. President, do you think that the government shutdown is all about this rally that's happening this weekend, the No Kings rally?
No, I mean, some people say they want to delay it for that. A king. This is
more
not
than
a king. You know, they're referring to me as a king. I'm not a king.
Right. No, but just so that Chuck Schumer could go and say, I'm fighting Trump.
Yeah, well, Chuck is, at the end of the line. He's being beaten by everybody that they poll against him. And, what he did is he did the right thing a couple of years ago on something like this. And he got hurt by his party. And it doesn't, I don't think it matters to him. I think he's just so dead that he'll do anything. I think they could just stay out forever. I mean, to be honest with you. Now, what we're doing is we're cutting Democrat programs that we didn't want because, they made one mistake. They didn't realize that gives me the right to cut programs that Republicans never wanted. Giveaways, welfare programs, etc. And we're doing.
All right, so as you guys may know, they're trying to do that in court now and say he can't cut these programs when obviously it's under presidential power that he can. They completely misunderstood or were just ignorant to who they were dealing with. He telegraphed them. You sure you want to do this? You sure? And they did it. They walked out. They decided they weren't going to do it. They're going to shut the government down. Now, everyone said tomorrow we'll see if now they begin turning because they had this giant national rally that they said was 7 million or 8 million people. Now people are finding out it was only like maybe 700,000. And as I told you last night, I turned on after we got off here, I turned on the Notre Dame game. There's 80,000 people there. It was no big deal, this No Kings protest. It was no big deal. It was nothing but lies. And it was people who basically speaking to the choir. It didn't change anything. It's not putting any pressure on Trump. It's not putting any pressure on any Republican. So it'll be interesting tomorrow to see if they acquiesce and begin actually coming in and submitting to it. Like he said, I don't care, which is another thing people aren't used to because he's not sitting there testing the wind to see what the polls are. I'm not doing it. You're not getting it, period. And that's what they're not used to.
Doing that, and we're cutting them permanently. We're cutting a $20 billion project that Schumer fought for 15 years to get. And I'm cutting the project. The project is going to be dead. It's pretty much dead right now.
Well, how significant will the layoffs be? Because now you've got a federal judge trying to stop you there as well, saying that any layoffs during a temporary shutdown is illegal.
These judges, I'm telling you, it's so terrible what's happening with the judges. When we want to go into a city to save the city, look at what we did in D.C. Washington, D.C. was a death trap. People would come from Iowa and Idaho and Florida, and they end up going home in a casket, right? They were killed. Now it's the safest city in the country. It took me 12 days to make it that way. 30 days to make it really good. 12 days to make it very good. And I'll tell you what, I'm so proud of the city. Do you see the way the city looks now?
It feels different, Mr. President. You're right.
It's
Union
clean.
Station was
even
totally
the grass
clean.
is growing properly.
And Union Station looked good.
Union Station is a dream. It's a beautiful place. You couldn't walk through Union Station without getting accosted or mugged or hit over the head with a bat. We moved out 1,700 career criminals and criminals from other countries that came in through Biden's open border. The worst thing that Biden did, and I don't really think it was him. I think it was, he's not an open border person. He doesn't, I really don't believe it. He was surrounded by radical left lunatics who were smart. And yet they've been after me for so many years, and how am I doing? I'm president. Here we are in the White House. Are we in the White House? I think so,
yes.
Right? So we want to go in and do what we did in D.C. So we're in Chicago now. We're being met with, by the way, the people love us. The people want us there. I said, Beautiful black women wearing MAGA caps all over the city. It's the most incredible thing. I love it. And they're all, there's like MAGA. I think you had them on your program. They're MAGA all over the place. But the governor, who got thrown out of his business by his family because he's a dope, but the governor, Pritzker, he doesn't want us in. If I were him, if I were a Democrat and I were him, I'd say, come on in. What do you have to lose?
And you're going to go to San Francisco next.
We're going to go to San Francisco. The difference is I think they want us in San Francisco. San Francisco was truly one of the great cities of the world. And then 15 years ago, it went wrong. It went woke. Remember my statement? Anything woke is,
broke.
And then I used a filthy, well, broke is another word. I used a filthy word, but I didn't. No. I took enough heat on that. I won't say it again, but It's true. I mean, nothing changes, right? But we're going to go to San Francisco, and we're going to make it great. We're going to make it great. It'll be great. Again, San Francisco is a great city. It won't be great if it keeps going like this. Chicago's another one. So the head of the Union Pacific, who you probably had on your show, he started off as like a conductor, now he's the chairman. Sort of a great, so his father worked for the railroad. The Union Pacific, great company. And he was in my office, and I talked to him because he knows all the cities. He said, sir, save Chicago. It's a great city. We're going to lose Chicago. Save Chicago. That was 2 months ago. And I said, let's do it. And I met with like this legal force. And don't forget, and I haven't used it, but don't forget, I can use the Insurrection Act.
Boom! When I heard that, I went, oh my God, did he just say that again? Letting everybody watching know, don't forget. I love how he said it to her. Don't forget, I can use the Insurrection Act. Ooh, I got a little goosebumpy on the arms there. I loved it. He leaned into her too and said, don't forget. Now you heard me talk about signal and noise and comms. That was a huge comm to somebody. I don't forget, I can use the Insurrection Act. You hear me? Whew. And before that, I'm going into San Francisco. Didn't say I'm looking into it. Didn't say we're going to see. I'm going to San Francisco. So what's Gavin Newsom going to do? He's going to San Francisco. So I think the next couple of weeks are going to be kind of spicy, because how would he go into San Francisco knowing that Newsom is going to sue the heck out of him as soon as they step foot, and he's definitely not going to invite him. So how's he going to go into San Francisco? Oh, don't forget, I might use the Insurrection Act. Wow. You heard him say it right out of his mouth.
50% of the presidents almost have used that, and that's unquestioned.
Somebody says play it again. All right, I'll back it up a little bit. You can hear it. Here we go. We'll hear it again.
Great city. We're going to lose Chicago. Save Chicago. That was 2 months ago. And I said, let's do it. And I met with like this legal force. And don't forget, and I haven't used it, but don't forget, I can use the Insurrection Act. 50% of the presidents almost have used that. And that's unquestioned power. I choose not to. I'd rather do this. But I'm met constantly by fake politicians that think that, it's not like a part of the radical left movement to have safety. These cities have to be safe. Our cities that are Democrat run, exclusively just about, are unsafe cities. They're a disaster. And I'm going to save the cities. I didn't run on that. I ran on crime, but I didn't run on straightening out the city.
Coming up, smears, surveillance, indictments, potential conspiracy. The president's reaction to all the dirty political tricks used against him for 10 plus years and the impact on America. Stay with us.
When you hear him talking about this, it's coming. There, in my mind, there's no doubt that this Insurrection Act is most assuredly coming. And can you even imagine at that point? Can you imagine the utter craziness that's going to break loose when he does that? Newsom, the media, they are all going to completely freak out. So what? I dare them to try and challenge him at that point, because it's been done, like he said, by over half the presidents in our history have already used the Insurrection Act in some way, shape, or form. So he's not doing anything that hasn't already been done. And it's coming. And at that point, we're going to see protests evolve or devolve from protests to actual violence. And you're starting to see it in Portland right now. The craziness that they're doing is because I think they know it's coming, and they're trying to warm up, and it's going to be epically violent. I think so. Hey, real quick here, let me tell you guys about the Patriot Addict Trump knives. I want to thank Patriot Addict for being a sponsor of the show, as they always are. And let me put that up real quick. All right, so, in order for me to do that, I've got to do this as well. Click this button here, Barry. Okay, I click the button and put this back up. All right, there we go. President Trump has been doing an amazing job while he's been in office, and it's only going to get better. As a celebration, Patriot Addict has been working with our channel here, the Fanfare family, with a couple things that they've been doing. One of the things is they've been giving out this Trump red knife for free, just to the Fanfare family here. And now what they're doing, they are sweetening the pot. Normally this knife retails for $70, and many people here in the Fanfare family have gotten it, and they've bought it, they like it. It's a very sturdy knife, it's a very sharp knife. This one's a little dirty because as I was getting in the office here, this is what I was using. Instead of, box cutters, I was chopping boxes and doing all kinds of things. Very sharp, stays sharp, pretty good heavy. Obviously got the window breaker here. It's got the seat belt cutter right there. Very nice knife. Many people have purchased it in the Fanfare family. And you could get this free just for the cost of shipping. But now I got a special add-on edition just for the Fanfare family. Anyone who orders this red combat knife will also get the Trump signature knife as a free bonus. It's a two for one. You get both of them. Both of them are free. Ordinarily, this would be $150 for these two knives. And you get them both for free, just pay shipping. Just the shipping, which is probably going to be about $25 for both these knives. They're kind of heavy, but you get two of them. So scan the QR code right over there to apply your 100% off coupon and to claim your Trump knives before they're all gone. Thank you to Patriot Addict for your help and support in everything we do, and I really appreciate it. So let's get back to the interview.
Aren't you going to have to compromise on something around healthcare subsidies to end this thing?
They want to give 1.5. They have a deal. We have a deal. We just want an extension. And the reason we want an extension is because you can't make a deal with these people. They're lunatics. They've gone crazy. They're crazed people. Trump derangement syndrome. There really is that disease. At first I found it to be amusing. Now I find that it really is. They want $1.5 trillion for health care for illegal aliens that come into our country. If we do that, it will jeopardize the health care of the citizens of our country. So we're not going to do that.
And on China, you've got a lot of economic levers to pull. You've got all those Chinese companies trading on our exchanges.
I have a lot to pull. I'm not looking to destroy China. But, China's taken out trillions of dollars, not hundreds, over the years, trillions of dollars. China has built their military because of us. China has taken out trillions and trillions of dollars. And then I came along my first term, as you know, I took out hundreds of billions of dollars from China. I tariffed China. And Biden left them, except he made so many exceptions, it didn't matter. But I tariffed China. I took in hundreds of billions of dollars from China. And now they forced me to charge them what is the equivalent of 155 to 157%.
But they need our capital markets. I mean, we're funding the expansion of these companies tied to the military.
I think they do, but look, they have a very smart leader. And I think we have a leader that wants to make a deal, because I think that's smart, and he's smart. So we'll see what happens. I'm meeting with them in 2 weeks. We're going to see what happens.
Final question on the surveillance that has gone on. I mean, we've got reports that Congress...
Okay, so I want you to pay close attention what he says here. I think this is the biggest calm signal that he says in this entire interview. Listen to as she turned into the criminal investigations. You got to hear this.
Collected 30 million lines of phone data during the January 6th investigation. They tapped the phones of 8 sitting lawmakers. What can you do to prevent this kind of surveillance, and how high up the chain did this go?
I think it went right up to the top, and I think it started with Obama, with Comey going up and giving me a briefing in 2016, 2015, the end of 2015 and 2016. And then I said to him, who knows about this? He said, President Obama, his wife, and Joe Biden. They sat in the Oval Office talking about it. But it went all the way through. Obama was involved, Biden was involved, everybody. And then they got this guy, deranged Jack Smith, a lunatic. And they put him in because he was the meanest prosecutor you could find. He was sort of a failed prosecutor because he'd failed because he'd always go too far. And now he really went too far. And we'll see, but you had 8 senators and I guess a couple of congressmen and some other people. But you had, maybe worse than that, you had a House rated of the ex-president of the United States who actually won the second election by a lot.
Were they looking for that report on Russia collusion?
I heard that they were looking because they thought there was a report bad about them. They thought I had it, which I didn't have.
You know he's got it, right? The big smile on his face. They were looking for something that they thought I had. I didn't have it. Of course he had it. They were stupid enough to think he was holding it in his house. He's got it, all right.
Anything of any merit, but they were looking, and I also had the Presidential Records Act. I had the right to have all this stuff. I had that right to have it. Only the president has that right. The vice president doesn't have that right, but the president does. But they were looking for they thought I had bad things on them because they knew how bad they were.
So was it a conspiracy?
If they weren't bad, they wouldn't have known that.
Do you expect there will be charges that there was a conspiracy against you?
I don't know about charges. I'm allowed to be involved in this. I'm the Chief Law Enforcement Officer of the United States. You know that, right? A lot of people say, oh, he's the president. He should. No, I'm the Chief Law Enforcement. I'm allowed to be involved in it, but I haven't chosen to. I think Pam is doing a very good job. I think Cash is really coming onto his own. It's a field that he's very good at. I think they have some people that are very good. We're going to see what happens. And again, I didn't know it was happening, but I see John Bolton just got indicted. That's a good thing. He's a bad guy. I don't know what he did, but he's a bad guy. Stupid kind of a guy, actually, He helped me, though, I must say. When I brought him into a room and I was negotiating like with Putin or this one or Kim Jong-un or whoever, when they saw Bolton, they gave me everything. You know why? Because they thought it meant war, because he was crazy. All he wanted to do is drop bombs on people. He's one of the people that convinced Bush to go into the Middle East. And I understand why. The guy was just I thought he was a crazed person. When in doubt, drop bombs on everybody. When in doubt, kill people. But having him standing, he never talked much. He almost never talked, come to think of it. But having him stand there with a big mustache, these people that I was fighting, they looked at him and they said, oh man, let's give up to Trump because this guy's crazy. Bolton is crazy and we'll end up in a war. I won so much stuff. But despite that, he was a bad guy. I don't know what he did. It must be pretty severe. But whatever it is, let the courts decide.
And all of these indictments caused Obama the other day on a podcast to say that right now democracy is being threatened.
Yeah, I know. He says that all the time. He's the one that threatened it by spying on my campaign. He started it. Obama spied on my campaign. And he did it knowing it was illegal. He knew it was illegal, but he started the whole thing. And there were a lot of dishonest people. And I suspect they'll be caught.
Boom! I suspect they'll be caught. Right there, we should see a lot of sphincter tightening in the Washington, D.C. deep state. He named Obama specifically as being caught. I don't think I've heard him say Obama, oh man, in that way. So tomorrow, I'm sure maybe later on today, you'll start seeing some of the people heading back to their offices who heard that, and that was a bombshell, an absolute bombshell that he just dropped and said, I suspect that they're going to be caught. So the guy who just 30 seconds before then said, of course I can be involved, I am the chief law enforcement officer of the entire country, just said, I suspect they'll be caught. So if you're the top law enforcement officer of the country and you're saying, I suspect they'll be caught, then you're telling all of us they've been caught. So those two things go together. I'm the big kahuna of the country, and because I'm the big kahuna, then I must know that this is coming. Even though I say, hey, I don't know, I don't have nothing to do with it, it's coming. It's coming. And the Insurrection Act. I'm like, oh, he waited till he talked to Maria Bartiromo before he dropped those nuggets. Yep. Leanne said he did name him. Hussein Obama is an enemy of the state. F around, and they have been caught. That's exactly what he just said. Trump just dropped the Moab. He did. Oh, I wanted to show you something else that he dropped. And this was earlier, before we get into the investment stuff. Where is this? I went to here. Another, and this is massive. Let me move that comment real quick here, because this is absolutely massive that you're going to have to see. What number? Okay, that goes here. All right, so he says, let me read this. President Gustavo Petro of Colombia is an illegal drug leader, strongly encouraging the massive production of drugs in big and small fields all over Colombia. It has become the biggest business in Colombia by far, and Petro does nothing to stop it, despite large-scale payments and subsidies from the USA that are nothing more than a long-term ripoff of America. As of today, in capital letters, these payments or any other form of payment or subsidies will no longer be made to Colombia. He just cut off the money trail to Colombia. The purpose of this drug production is the state of massive amounts of product into the United States, causing death, destruction, and havoc. Petro, a low-rated and very unpopular leader with a fresh mouth toward America, better close up these killing fields immediately, or the United States will close them up for him. And it won't be done nicely. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. As you're reading that, I'm wondering if you're feeling like I am. Is that Venezuela and now Colombia have been put in the crosshairs of President Trump. And you have to wonder, this guy here in 2025 is the first president to have said, you're done with the drugs. No more Colombia, no more Venezuela. We're blowing up submarines, we're blowing up boats. We're going to stop you from bringing the drugs into America. And there are people in our government who are fighting this. So wait a second. He's getting ready to stop the drug trade, stop these people from bringing drugs in, and you have a problem? Instead of cheering him, instead of saying, wow, we're so glad you're putting this attention on these drug runners. They're fighting him. You see, one of the things that I hope you notice, and I guess the Democrats are lost, they refuse to notice, is he's stopping bad people. Yet they're calling him the bad guy. I'm going to stop these drugs from Colombia in a big way. I'm going to stop these drugs from Venezuela in a big way. Boom, boom, boom. I'm going to stop Iran from thinking they can do some stuff. Boom, boom, boom. I'm going to stop Hamas from doing stuff. You don't do it, I'm going to kill you. Exact words. President Trump isn't looking to go and have all this diplomatic stuff and go around the world and beg people to stop messing with America. President Trump has unleashed Pete Hegseth and everybody else involved in the War Department and said, it ends now. Not negotiating with you. No, you cannot bring your drugs into America any longer. Period. But instead of cheering, instead of supporting this, you actually have Democrats fighting it. The contrast couldn't be more clear. There are people obviously being paid by these narco-terrorists to keep the flow going. It could have been, what he's showing us is that this could have been stopped at any time. It's pretty easy. It's done. You're done. You're not doing this anymore. No wonder why everyone wants to unalive the President of the United States, because he has taken away the flow. The flow that's been going on for decades. All the way back to the poppy fields when they were bringing stuff in from Vietnam. You've seen the movies. Down here in South Florida, the cocaine cowboys. It became well known throughout the state. Hey, you go down to Miami, they're moving some serious yayo through there. They got go fast boats. Remember Miami Vice? That stuff wasn't a fiction. Actually, yeah, it was nonfiction. It was happening. And all the while, none of our presidents ever said, turn it off. We're done. I think the closest one that got to it was Reagan with just say no. But that didn't mean anything. Like, yeah, just say no. No. And just bring more stuff in. You should have seen it down here. I mean, literally, if you ever get a chance to watch the documentary, The Cocaine Cowboys, it was insane. You remember the movie Scarface? You know, a lot of people think this is Hollywood. Well, the very boat lift was happening right not too far away from here, where they all showed up, and then they all got unleashed and just became... You think it's bad now? With the newcomers in Mexico? Ooh, boy, you should have seen what happened with all the Cuban criminals. And it took years to get that under control. And the same thing happened. Some of them got into law enforcement, all kinds of different things. I've watched it happen here as a microcosm of what's happened across the country. And the drugs that used to come through here, man, there were people making so much money, doing all kinds of ruthless things. And you have to wonder, why did nobody ever turn off the spigot? It was like an offload ramp. They'd bring it into Miami and then it would go all over the country. So President Trump right now is saying, no more. You're done. You've made your money. You've taken advantage. You've killed Americans. And you and Maduro, that's it. No more. And yet, instead of greeting him with applause and hugs, the Democrats and some Republicans are fighting it. You better ask, if your politician is fighting him turning off this spigot, you have to ask why. Because it makes no sense at all. This should be a zero-sum game. No, I'm not negotiating with you. You're done. That's it. You're done. And that's what's happening right now. Let's see. Blow with Johnny Depp, which was based on true events. Yep, that's another one. They're all making movies about it. Most of us have a price, Barry. Well, I'm not sure I want to even go there. Let's see. Cubic dollars. American leftist politicians are being paid to let it continue. I bet. Here we go. All right. So I don't want to hold you here all night. So let me begin segueing into what I was going to talk to you about. So anyone who's not interested in understanding and having a frank talk about improving their lot in life and understanding where to go, this might be the time for you to exit, because I'm pretty sure that SV and the team are not going to take any crap from anybody. And so let me give you, before I begin, my resume. My resume, I've been buying and selling houses. I am not a realtor. My wife is a realtor by function because of what we needed to do in our business. I've been buying houses and selling houses for nearly 30 years. I learned my trade from a guy who owned the biggest investment club here in South Florida. I learned a little working with my dad because when he was his construction company, and the government would hire him to go in and renovate, and he would buy some of the properties. But I really didn't get into it till I met this guy. And I still remember when it was. It was, I had come down here in 1990, and I didn't know anybody, and he invited me to his house. Let me back up. A friend that I went to college with was looking to buy her first house. She asked me if I would come along. I went along and just walked with her while she talked to this guy. And he pulls up in a nice car, an old white Jewish guy. And he's walking through the house, and he keeps looking at me and keeps talking. And he comes over and goes, "Hey, what are you doing?" I said, "I just moved down here. I'm not really doing much, just checking out the scene." And she asked me to come with her today. I'm like, "Okay." And then he goes, "What are you doing Sunday?" Because Sunday was going to be the Super Bowl. And I went to his house and never met him before. And I just got to go, and we just watched the football game. It was Buffalo Bills against the New York Giants. And that's how I met him. And he ran the investment club, and he showed me, do this, do this, do this. I'm like, "What do you mean? Just do this." And the first thing he showed me was something called wholesaling. And if you're not familiar with wholesaling would be when you find a deal that somebody else will buy and sell. And so he walked me through on what he wanted and everything else and how to do it. But I remember the first talk he had with me. And this is what I want to start today. I don't want to jump into how to do the deal. Because before you can do the deal, you have to know that you want to do the deal. You have to know that you deserve to do the deal. You have to have the mindset of winning. And that's what we're going to talk about here for the next however long we're here. And I'm going to dig into the mindset. And I want to show you some things that may shock you guys. But first, I got a whole segment sponsor right now.
Get in. We're stealing homes. We're not like those other home criminals that steal your stuff. We steal your hard-earned home equity. We find your property online from the public record.
Got it.
Create a deed transfer that makes us the homeowners.
Got it.
And borrow tons of cash against your equity, and you won't know till the foreclosure notice hits months later.
You see, that's from Home Title Lock. I'm saying, let me just tell you, if you're a homeowner in America, you need to listen to this. The FBI has been warning about a type of real estate scam, fraud, Letitia, on the rise, calling title theft, and your equity is the target. Here's how it works. It's very simple. Criminals, scamsters, can go and look online, find out, actually pull down your title. I will show you how easy it is to find titles. And then they will look at the signature, and they will forge that signature on a single document, usually a quitclaim deed. They will then use a fake notary stamp, and then they will file it with the county. So I'm going to stop you right now, because you're probably like, what do you mean they're going to file it with the county? The county won't accept it. Well, understand this. The county, their entire job is to take the document from somebody and record it. They don't do any verification. They take the document, they record it. That's it. And as soon as that document is recorded, these criminals now own your house. One of the problems people have is they don't realize that a deed and a mortgage are two separate documents. The deed shows ownership. The mortgage shows who owes something. Using your home ownership, they can take out loans against your equity if you have any, or even sell your property. Pretty much, if you don't have any equity, you don't got anything to worry about. They're coming after your equity. And you won't know about it until you start getting foreclosure notices or collection notices when they come to the mail or get stapled to your front door. That's why in my real estate stuff here, I've partnered with Home Title Lock so you can protect your equity and find out today if you're already a victim. Use my promo code BARRY at HomeTitleLock.com. Very simple to remember, HomeTitleLock.com, and you'll get a free title history report and a free trial of their $1 million triple lock protection. That's 24/7 monitoring of your title records, urgent alerts to any changes, and if fraud occurs, their U.S.-based restoration team will spend up to $1 million to fix it. $1 million? It's very expensive to quiet title. You have to hire an attorney. You then have to prove that you didn't sign those documents. The meter runs the entire time. Find out why I trust Home Title Lock. Protect yourself. Don't be a victim. Protect your equity today. That's HomeTitleLock.com, promo code Barry, or use the link below. All right, so, and I know some people have you don't need to use it. No, you don't. You do not need to use Home Title Lock. You don't need to go to a barber. You don't need to cut your lawn. You do it because it's convenient. And you do it because people are supposedly experts. We have a pool. I don't clean the pool. I don't know how to do all that pH-y stuff. I definitely don't cut whatever's left on his head. And so, if you don't know how to search titles, which we'll get to in a future episode, we'll talk about that. All right, so let me go into what I meant is that for some reason at this point in our country, there are people who despise wealth. People who think that building wealth is wrong. They've taken that phrase out of the Bible and they try to use it as part of this Saul Alinsky's rules for radicals. And they say stuff like, oh, money is the root of all evil. No, you kind of left something out. The love of money is the root of all evil. Money's not the root of all evil. That's the first thing you have to discern. You have to accept having money, whatever that scorecard is, because each one of us has our own scorecard as to what we think is good. It's not bad to acquire or increase your score. In fact, I encourage you to increase your score. President Trump encourages you to increase your score, i.e., your prosperity. People who try to tamp down your prosperity are people you don't need to be involved with business-wise, and sometimes even friend-wise. They will bring you down, which is why there are so many, how can I say that, poor people in the hood. If you surround yourself with people who don't know, you become a byproduct of who you hang out with. That's why when that guy took me to his house and I met with he and his wife and started going to some of his meetings, I'm like, okay, these people seem to get it. They know there's something more. These people want to be successful. Some of these people are successful. Some of these people are really successful. You know, what happens when you're around really successful people, it feels like a shower, because things that you're not normally accustomed to start opening the eyes, and it feels good. Like, wow, that felt good. How did you do that? How did you do this? And imagine if you've never talked to somebody with a lot of money, that the embarrassment of you not having any goes away because they're telling you what you need to do. Whereas when you talk to people who don't have any money, they complain about it. Let's not be complainers. Let's be happy for anybody who wants to do better in life. Let's not try to detract people and try to keep them down. Let's think about this and really make an effort to encourage one another. I doubt you'll see this on any other podcast because for some reason a lot of people know people don't like talking about it. It's embarrassing. I don't care where you are on that ladder. There's always going to be somebody who's got more and somebody who's got less. Your actions are, do I climb? Do I jump off? Or do I reach down and help somebody else? And all throughout my real estate career, I have tried to reach down and help somebody else. Now, I'm going to tell you something here. There are going to be, I don't know how many people remain here and watch this, but the bulk of the people watching this who are like, I'm ready, will never do anything. And that's what I want to, people like, hey, you're going to start talking about investment? Well, before I can do that, you got to go into preseason here. You've got to go into camp right now. You have to begin looking at this and going, all right, I need to lift the weights. I need to start running. I need to get ready before I can even get my shoulder pads. I remember the first time I went into camp, I'm thinking, all right, this is going to be cool when we start practice. What do you mean run? When do we start playing? What do you mean lift? There's so much you have to do before you get to the opportunity to put on the shoulder pads. So tonight we're going to have like a preseason meeting. And depending on how people respond, we'll get to the next stage where you get issued your helmet. But I want to make sure the first and foremost is if you're on the field, and I'm going to keep using sports metaphors because that's what I am. If you're on that field, then that means you want to be here. You want to be a part of the team. You're not sitting in the bleachers, which means you have to get your mindset. I'm going to show you some things in a little bit here that are going to leave you guys going, I could never do that. If you say to yourself, you can never do that, you are going to succeed. You're going to succeed in never doing it. So as soon as you begin thinking, I can't do that, you might want to just log off. You're done. I'm not here to convince anybody. Nobody had to convince me. Somebody showed me some stuff and I went, seriously? I can do that? Okay, I'm in. I've got intelligence. Yeah, I've got ambition. There's not a whole lot of prerequisites. A lot of people think it's money. No, you don't need that either. You don't need the money. The prerequisite is your ability to roll up your sleeves and get some stuff done, and the mindset of going, I can do this, furthered by the mindset is, I deserve this. This is something I can wrap my arms around, despite all the poo-pooers out there across the country. All right, so let's dig in. I want to show you something. I believe this was his first cut was from something that Glenn Beck had on his show, and I want you'll see the lower third, the bottom of this, and I just want to get you into the mindset. Throw away everything you've heard, and I'm going to call them misconceptions. If people have told you it doesn't work, you can't do that, you either got to throw it away, never listen to it again, or turn off this video, because it will never work if you think I can't do it. That's the first step. That's the beginning of becoming any sort of real investor, is going, yeah, I can do this. I can absolutely do this. And I deserve this. I work hard. I don't want to work as hard. I want to fly first class. I want to do this and that. Whatever it is you want, because it's often when I talk to people and I'm like, no, I'm comfortable, I'm good. Well, you're going to go fly and see your grandkids? Yeah. You want to fly first class? And they never even think about it. They never think, well, what do you mean? You just said you don't need anything else. Do you think you deserve to fly first class? Do you think that you deserve to stay in the presidential suite at a Hilton? Or you think that you only, if I stay at the Motel 6, I'm good? Where's that mindset of yours? My mindset is every time I pick up the phone to call a hotel, the first thing I call is the presidential suite booked? Ask Robin. Ask Ashley. Do you have this? Do you have that? When you can do that and say to yourself, I deserve to stay here. Well, obviously, beforehand, you got to make up your mind and go, how do I afford first class seats? And don't say to yourself, I don't need that. It's not about needing. It's about deserving. Yeah, you could take a Greyhound and go 1,000 miles. Anybody can transport. Everybody can go someplace. How do you want to get there? And if you say, well, I don't want to waste the money, then that's another problem. You're not wasting it if, one, you deserve it, and two, you can make more. At the other office, I have my gold and silver stuff, but things have friends. You need to understand that you need to bring more friends together. So I'm freaking you out, probably because most people never tell you this stuff. And I've had to have this same conversation with my daughter. We had that same conversation with business partner and friends. And I've had people go, it's too much pressure. And like I said to you yesterday, until you get comfortable writing your name on the front of the check instead of the back of the check, you will never understand this. It becomes freeing. If you've never worked on 100% commission, you're like, that's a plank I can't walk off of. I have bills, I have obligations. Don't we all? But some of us realize, you know what, I'm tired of going to an office 40, 50, 60 hours a week and somebody else determining what my value is. See, I work in excess of most people's full-time jobs, but nobody gets to determine what my income is except me. Flipping the script. So let me show you something here, and I'll go through it slowly so you guys can understand. First and foremost, get the mindset. Everybody wants to be the varsity athlete, but they don't have the mindset to be on the team. Let's go.
80% of the book is doing. Okay, 80% of it. Now we do spend some time in the book dispelling myths about how the world works. Everyone thinks, you climb the ladder to success. I mean, it doesn't really work that way. So we dispel a lot of myths around that. We explain how economics really works so that they don't make bad decisions early on with debt, and they understand the value of savings. They understand, the dollar and issues with that. Just the core fundamental things we think that they have to know. I mean, really, this book is, at its core, a dad who loves his son's best attempt to say, this is what I think you need to know now. There's more you'll need to know, way more. But right now, these are things that will be really useful to you. So there's that context build in the first part of the book, which is the philosophy and some education. But then the next part is all about doing. And when the doing, we break it in because we figure we're...
So I want to stop there. This guy has written a book with his son. And he's struggling because he knows as he's talking, this kind of talk is uncomfortable for other people to hear. Yeah, Glenn's been successful, so it's not Glenn he's uncomfortable with. He's uncomfortable with who's going to hear this and realize what I'm about to tell you is going to blow your world away. And what's going to happen, what you're going to hear, are some people probably in the chat going, yeah, I can't do that. Well, you've checked out. It's not for you. This is like, you ever get cut? Thankfully, I never got cut. But you try out for a team, and that team says, you know what? You're just not good enough. Bye. You can't play here. Well, in order to make that first cut, you got to show up. In order to be a successful investor, successful in finance, you actually have to begin. That is the first step. People have asked me, how do you start? You got to begin. You have to start and understand your mindset needs to change completely.
Actually competing with college. So we use 4 years. We break down the 4 years into quarters. We call them cycles. Each cycle has a theme, and each cycle includes an anchor activity. That's what we call it, which is an adventure, really. It's doing something challenging, but where you walk away in most cases with a skill of real economic value that you could go get a job on with that alone if you wanted to, but we discourage it at this time. But we think stacking these on top of each other has a way greater impact to do that.
Okay, when he's saying stacking these things, just like I was talking about, you're going to have to learn to get faster. You got to run. That's an entire skill set by itself when you're looking to play something. You got to learn how to run. You got to learn how to lift weights. You got to learn how to eat. You got to learn how to read films. Those are all skill sets that you stack to become better. So it's exactly the same application, which is why you see so many people in athletics transfer to business, because they're used to stacking skill sets. Most people outside of athletics are not used to stacking skill sets because they're never taught to stack skill sets. Everything associated with eating, lifting, running, mental attitude, films, are all skill sets that you have to get on the field. So
you have the anchor activity, and we think that everyone, of course, we do believe in education. We just don't really believe in college as a place where you really get that. So, and especially today, I mean, you know, MIT publishes its entire course catalog online. Yale has a bunch of stuff online. You can take Yale's MBA program if you want. I mean,
did you know that? Did you know that most of the people who are paying $100,000 and $120,000 a year to go to Ivy League schools, you can download the curriculum for free? Hey, I want to be a lawyer. Okay, we'll take the curriculum that a lawyer would take and just do that. You could do that at night. Okay, I'm going to read this. I'm going to read this. I'm going to read this. Homeschooling isn't just for people who don't want to go to public school. Homeschooling is for anybody who wants to learn more. There is a YouTube video, there is a webinar, there is something for every single one of you to do in your spare time to accumulate the knowledge to take the next step. You just have to be willing to do it. Hey, I want to be an engineer. Let me look up the MIT year one freshman. What do I need? And I'm going to tell you the prerequisites. They're going to tell you everything. It's right there. Everything is right there.
It's all this stuff. It's available for free or next to free. So
Hillsdale.
we do have lots of academics in there.
Yeah. I mean, that's the one thing I don't know if you're that familiar with Charlie Kirk, but he was a friend of mine, and I kept watching him, and I know he didn't go to college, and every time I'd see him, I'm like, how are you learning all this? And he took 19 courses for free with his Hillsdale. He could quote every classic. He was a disciplined mind, and it just came from him knowing what he wanted to learn, and then doing it and pursuing it every single day. And it didn't cost him. He wasn't in debt. I mean, it was a remarkable testimony to me on what somebody can do if they just set their mind to it, if they want to do it.
I agree. When you see him speak and the things he's able to draw to mind so easily shows that that's what a real education is. He pursued things out of his own curiosity, his own desire, thirst for knowledge, rather than this is the course catalog and this is what I'm doing. Because
you say these cycles they each teach you. Can you give me an example of some of the cycles?
Sure. Do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, I mean, out of the 16, we have many different kind of.
All right, so as this kid is talking, understand he's 16. He's the same age as my grandson. Wink, wink, Ashley. And he's going to tell you the training he has been put in, the regimen he has to go through right now to get where he wants to get to. And as he's talking, I was listening to this and going, wow.
Genres in it. There's the fighter cycle, which you're training Muay Thai in Thailand for 3 months. There's the heavy equipment operator cycle, where you go to Florida to learn to become a heavy equipment operator and operate tons of different equipment.
Which you get certified in, and then that could turn into your job if you wanted it to.
So this kid's at 16, and Dad's like, I'm going to ship you down to Florida, and you're going to learn how to, do backhoes and cranes and everything at 16. I'm going to send you, which I know this would be expensive, I'm going to send you to Thailand to start getting your body fit, and you're going to learn some Muay Thai. I'm sure you can get Muay Thai locally. You don't have to go all the way to Thailand. But he sent his kid to Thailand. Go ahead and learn. And I say that because I know some people are like, well, he sent his kid to Thailand. I can't afford that. Well, before you say that, understand there's people doing Muay Thai right in your backyard. And so he's showing his child the various cycles and stack of everything he needs. Like I said, weightlifting for football, running for football. He's like, we need to get you into a different place in your mind. We're going to put you in Muay Thai. We're going to do that for one of the cycles. I'm going to send you to Florida. You're going to learn how to use a big rig and stuff.
There's the EMT cycle, which is probably one of the cheapest, next to the fighter cycle, where you become a certified EMT.
Robin used to be an EMT. The only reason Robin stopped doing an EMT was because she couldn't. Down here in Florida, one of the things when you do EMT work is, as you would know, somebody dials 911. She didn't care about the accidents, a car. She'd come back and tell me, I'm like, I can't hear this stuff. What used to get her, because we have so many pools down here, is showing up and there'd be floating babies in pools. And she goes, I can't do that. That was it for her. She could not reach the next level because she couldn't do that job. Didn't bother car accidents, drug overdoses, shootings, stabbings. None of that bothered her until her first call where she had to go to a swimming pool and there was a floating baby. And that first time she kind of got over it. Then she got the second call, and there was 2 kids in a pool bobbing. That's it. I'm done. Can't do this anymore. Which is okay. She learned that skill set. That's the thing she learned. She learned that skill set. And I can't tell you over the years how many times it's been where she's like helped people in restaurants and at resorts and everything else. So this kid is learning all of this at 16. And by the way, depending on what location he's in, an EMT can make you some good money. I wonder how many of you have thought, wow, I could be an EMT.
There's also an entrepreneur cycle, an investor cycle.
There's a welder cycle.
Exactly.
There's this great place in Maine called the Shelter Institute where you design and build a home in 3 weeks.
Somebody in the chat said you can't do this without doing that. Don't leave your preconceptions at the door. There are places you can go to learn a skill set in a matter of a couple weeks or a month. And all of a sudden, you're in a completely different situation in life. It's all mindset.
Wow.
I mean, in the 3rd week, you put up a timber frame only. You're not doing all the final, finishing of the home, obviously, in that time period. But the design part, the 2 weeks, you'll know how to design your own home out of that. And I mean, it's a great program they have. And so that's one of the cycles. There's a welder cycle. And we have a cycle where we say you should work because along the way you're going to be presented with opportunities, and some of them you're going to want to pursue for a few months just to kind of see. And for Maxim, after he became an EMT, and these opportunities sort of come to you the more you do in the world.
Opportunities come to you the more he said, do in the world. I would substitute the more education, the more proficiency you get, the opportunities come to you. People say, I can't do this. Well, that's because you're not ready to seize on the opportunity.
Someone showed up and said, hey, I see you're qualified to do that. I own a wildland
EMS company. And then so the next year he brought me on and I worked on wildfires the next year, earning $600 a day.
Should I stop now? A 16-year-old kid making $600 a day fighting wildfires. When I heard that, I went, oh my God. And yet you get people out there in the signs, oligarchs, no kings. This dude's making $600 a day at 16. Come on.
So it was like a crazy opportunity out of the blue that I took a $1,500 4-month-long EMT course, became certified, and then it translated over to something wild like that.
$1,500 course turned into a $600 a day job. Nothing to do with real estate, nothing to do with investing. That's just getting your mindset ready. All right, so we're going to move on. I'm looking at some of the comments here, and I understand that it's some people who just don't seem to. They just can't grasp this. So that scares me, because if they couldn't grasp that, what you're about to see is really going to set your sneakers on fire in terms of mindset. Okay, here we go.
What's the best deal that you've seen in the last year?
Best deal I've seen that I've bought, or best deal I've seen?
That you've seen.
Best deal I've seen is I had a student of mine assign a deal for $600,000, so he didn't even have to buy the deal. He just assigned it to another buyer for $600,000.
So a bunch of you guys are sitting there going, what is that? So an assignment of a contract is a utilization of a document. So when you enter into a contract, you have the ability to assign it to somebody else. And notice this guy's name is Pace Morby. One of the things he's talking about here is how I started. When Bill has passed on, showed me how to do this, he said, here's what you do. You just bust your butt and you go find a deal, a house in this box of parameters. And you do this. You take this contract that I'm going to show you how to write, and you put it down $1,000 deposit or $500 deposit, whatever you have available. Obviously, for a $600,000 deal, he's talking a much more sizable deposit. So you go into this house, or you find this piece of property that you're buying for $200,000. And you go to somebody like Bill and say, Bill, I've got this deal under contract for $200,000. It is a fully assignable contract. I will assign this contract to you for $210,000. So those of you who are quick at math, you realize, well, your contract's $200, you're assigning it for $210. You make $10,000 merely because you found the deal. That was my entire first year, running around everywhere, driving every single morning, trying to find stuff that I could get under contract and then, quote, wholesale it, assign it to him. Didn't swing a hammer, didn't sweep anything, nothing. It was a complete paper transaction. So in your spare time, while you're working or if you're retired, and once you learn how to look up things and understand how to find deals, because that's another training. The first step here is to understand this is what you can do. The very first deal I ever did, and one of Bill's partners, David, had told me, go find this, and you find this, we'll give you this. I'm like, okay. And I'm driving around. I've told this story, and I saw a realtor sign laid down with grass growing over it, so I knew people weren't seeing it was for sale. And this was back in the good days, and it was a house in an area, and they were looking to sell it for $44,000. I offered them $39,000. I put $1,000 on the contract, and then so I'm in it at $39,000. I took that contract to Bill. Bill bought it from me on assignment at $45,000. I made $6,000 for literally an hour or two. And I remember coming back with the check to Rob and going, I cannot believe, look, there's a check here for $6,000. What'd you do? I'm like, I found this house. I wrote a contract. I called Bill, it fit all his parameters. He told his secretary to cut me a check. I didn't buy anything. That was $6,000. I was like, are you crazy? Is this serious? And how many times could you do that in a month? Over and over. I asked Bill, hey, Bill, how many of these can you do? And he's like, you just keep bringing them. I'll tell you if I can't do it. Stay in that box, stay in those parameters, and you can make money. So Pace here, the guy asked him, what's the best deal you ever heard? And he said, there's somebody that he knows did an assignment. Meaning all they did was find the property. They knew how to look, they knew how to do the due diligence, and they got paid $600,000 just for finding the deal. Now you paying attention? Now you understanding how lucrative this could be? Obviously, you're not going to do that your first time, but you got to get in your mindset that I can do it. There is nothing that's going to prevent you. It's going to take time. It's like sifting, if you're baking and the flour goes through, you have to do the work. But if it doesn't cost you anything, what would prevent you from doing that?
I had a student named Duran who bought an assisted living facility in Philadelphia.
Wait a second. Okay, so there are questions here. Let me stop. Barry, what do you call the people you assign the contract to? Investors. Investors like me. There are people out there, if they see something, my phone will ring. Barry, I got something. I got a 3-2 in Dillard Park. Here's how much it is. And there are certain areas of town I don't even have to go look at. I know how much it's worth. I know how much I'll be willing to pay. And if they have a deal, we can go ahead and do one. I just did one with JJ, the pastor, who's also an attorney, found a deal and said, hey, you're not going to believe this. And boom, we did it. It literally is you doing the work. So the person willing to buy it, usually investor, or like Pace in this video, is the person who's going to be the end buyer. Not a broker, an investor, someone who's going to buy it. Somebody said something earlier. Will Barry share his parameters with us if we ask? Yeah, but that again, that's the next show. If you guys like what you hear and you're like, okay, yeah, now I want more, then we'll move into that. I just want to show you the mindset tonight. It's a Sunday evening, and I already see some people in the chat going, oh, you can't do that. Don't listen to them. They're not ready for this. Their own misconceptions are keeping them from understanding the reality. So let's get back to this so you can hear more of what he says, because I'm telling you, there are going to be some people hear what he says here and like, they won't believe it.
Raised $8 million for it, turned into a hotel, refinanced it like $30 million and made $20 million in like 18 months. Like those are...
It happens. See, you remember the movie City Slickers? And I bring it all the time when Curly brings and he drops the gold on the table and he says, and it's got friends. You see, once you start building that network, once you start building a network, and not every deal is going to be right for every person. But if you know what to look for, you've got parameters, the deals are out there. They're not everywhere. It's not like they're just going to fall out the sky. You got to do the work. And so Pace is explaining the best deals he's seen.
Crazy deals that happen, but they happen all the time, right? You ran into a weird deal. Imagine, Jack, if you were actually looking for deals all day long, you'd find a weird deal every day.
So where are the best places to look for deals?
Okay, so best places to look for deal, definitely not Zillow. Where should I go to find a deal?
All right, so why did he say not Zillow? Zillow is where everybody who doesn't have the wherewithal and experience goes to look. When I had showed you Zillow, one of those things I was trying to get you guys to do was to get your feet wet. Start looking at numbers. Understand what you're looking at. Once you get a little bit further, there are different pieces of software. He's going to name one here, the software he uses. I use a different software here because I only need to look at South Florida. And once you know what you're looking at, you can, well, he's going to tell you.
If I want to find a deal, I would go to a web. Are you okay if I tell a website that I don't make money on, but it costs money?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There's a company called dealsauce.io that I can just click, find all the foreclosures. Dealsauce.io. Again, I don't make money on that. Dealsauce.io, I can find foreclosures, probates, inheritance. I can find expired.
All right, slow down, bro. Slow down. I can find foreclosures. I can find estate sales, probate. Probate, if you don't know what that means, somebody dies and heirs want to sell the property. Hugely lucrative at that point. Most time the grandkids are like, you just sell that and give me the cash, and you can make some serious deals. So he's just rattling off all the different types of deals you can find once you use certain software.
Listings, long days on market. I can find people who want to sell an owner finance. I can find anything that I want on DealSauce within like 20 seconds. And within 2 clicks of a button, I'm sending all of those sellers a message saying, hey, I'm looking to buy your house. Like, it's that easy nowadays.
Can you creative finance anything? Like, what's the craziest thing that you financed?
All right, so that's Graham Stephan, I believe is his last name. Creative finance is another term that some people, it bothers them. It's creative. They think it's some sort of, lizard with 2 heads. Like President Trump, which is the reason why I'm talking about this, is that a deal is a deal. If I don't ask you, I will never know. For instance, there is a law, an actual law, a federal law that says if someone is in foreclosure and the bank wants to take their property back and you do a short sale, which means the bank will take less, not go into the whole thing, but they'll take less because they don't want to have to go through the entire eviction process and everything else. So you go to the owner and say, listen, I'll get you out of this debt. I understand you owe $300. I'll give you $210. And then they're like, well, the bank never... Don't worry about the bank. I'll talk to the bank. Would you take $210? Yeah. But sometimes the seller will say, I'd like to get, I know you're going to make a bunch of money. Can I get 10 grand? Nope, it's illegal. You cannot receive any of the proceeds from this deal I'm going to be doing with the bank. Now you want to get really creative? You can do the Hunter Biden thing. But that painting on the wall, I'll buy that painting from you for 10 grand. Don't tell me anything about it. That's legal. Oh, you got a riding lawnmower. Damn, I've been looking for a riding lawnmower. I'll pay you $7,500 for it. Creative is something that's not illegal. but it helps you get the deals done. He's going to talk about something creatively, not even having to do with real estate.
I'm buying right now a $500,000 motor coach because I'm doing a tour across America to like help homeless people and do something cool. So I'm buying a motor coach with no money down. I just bought a plane with no money down. I don't know if you guys saw that on my channel, but I have a student that buys 300 planes. Here's what he's doing. He's going after planes that are like forgotten about, people are dying, people are inheriting these little planes in these little municipal airports. He's buying them on seller finance and he's turning around and he's leasing them to training schools. We're the #1 country in the world for training, for like pilot programs. So all these Asian countries are coming in here and sending their pilots to learn from us. Those training schools need planes. And so he leases those to, you can do anything with creative finance.
You can do anything with creative financing. If the person that's sitting across from you agrees, that's a deal. And so this guy is finding old planes that people don't want. People have died. People have gotten divorced. I'll buy this plane from you. Then he quickly arbitrages it out to a flight school that they'll lease it from him so that they can train people how to fly planes. I heard that for the first time. I was like, oh, that's brilliant. That's absolutely brilliant. Creative, thinking about different ways. How can I do this? And also, no money down doesn't mean there's no money in the deal. That's another misnomer. Once you get your mindset and realize there's money in here, it's just not necessarily yours. You may need to bring in a partner.
Craziest thing on the planet. I'm trying to buy a plane or a train because I want to be able to say planes, trains, and automobiles. Because half my cars I own are all creative finance. And I'm like, if I could get a train and I could put it on my farm, I'd turn it into like a bed and breakfast and I'd get a train on creative finance. So the one thing I haven't done yet.
So what do you think is holding so many people back today?
And this is where I've been telling you. What's holding you, maybe, and other people back from doing something is fear. That fear of being hit from the guy who weighs 200 pounds running full speed on the first day of practice. Some people will pack up and go, I'm not ready for this. Fear. The feeling that you don't deserve it.
Great question, Graham. If I could talk about this for hours, so I'm going on this big tour right now. I think it's going to be like the last tour I do. And I stress out about this exact problem because it's like, if I could invent one pill, it would be the take action, stop being an analysis paralysis mode pill.
All right, so what he's saying there is what I said. In order to begin being an investor and begin changing your life, you have to begin. You have to do it. I'm telling you, most people watching this won't do anything. They will have clicked off already. They won't take any action. Only those who truly understand that everything is there for them, those are the only people who are going to take action.
And so like the Maddie story, the homeless lady, what I did and the reason why I helped her is I'm like, if I could document this and give away the video content, maybe that would finally push people over to believe they could do it too. Then when I was doing the content, this is crazy. So as I was talking about Maddie on my Instagram, I haven't released anything on YouTube yet, but people go, well, yeah, she's homeless. So, I'm not homeless. So that doesn't apply to me. I'm like,
he helped a homeless woman learn how to be a real estate investor. And people found reasons why they couldn't do it. Yeah, but she was homeless. What? What? She was homeless, so she is in a better position than I was? What? What are you talking about? You do the deal. Doesn't matter where you live. They don't care. I bet you Maddie ain't homeless anymore. It's all up here. I can't stress it.
What the freak are you talking about? She literally has every disadvantage on the planet, and you just need somebody to like literally hold your physical hand. I think that is one of the biggest things is people are like, just tell me what to do. So in this book, I'm writing a book called Start Here. And Start Here is like everybody in my DMs goes, where do I start? And so I want to give them a book that says Start Here, right? So I've got Maddie, homeless lady. I've got a single mom, husband passed away. I'm about to help her starting on Monday. Father with 3 jobs, juggling like bunch of kids. I've got a kid flipping hamburgers that doesn't want to go to college, a wounded veteran, somebody who's doing side hustles for a living to survive. And then I've got an immigrant, somebody who just like immigrated to the United States that doesn't even have a social security yet. And these are the 7 people I constantly run into that say, it's impossible for me to be successful. It's impossible. So this book I'm writing is me going to these people, physically helping them, documenting every journey. I give them the blueprint, and then they take the action. I'm not doing the work for them. Like Maddie, the homeless lady, I did not do anything for her except show her the way.
So if someone were to show you the way, one of the questions you have to answer yourself right now as we move on, we'll finish this off and go to the next training, probably next Sunday. Dolphins are away again. And I can dig in and begin showing you some more. Are you ready to do that without having your hand held? And I'd love to see that in the chat, and I'll read that afterwards.
I record all of this stuff, and I'm going to give it to the world and be like, here you go. Like, here's hopefully that magic pill. But Graham, I think you know better than anybody else. Somebody will make a comment in your YouTube comments about some video you did. They'll make a comment in the active video and act as if you didn't make a video that answered that question 2 weeks ago. Have you ever experienced that?
Yeah, all the time.
Yes.
People are so unresourceful. So it's like they need people to spoon feed them or hold their hand. And so
It's so true. I've had many people email me and say, how do you do this? And I'll send them a link. Go watch Pace's video. Go watch Grant Cardone. Go watch Patrick Bet-David. Then go watch one of my old videos. Start getting the knowledge where I can even talk to you. Otherwise, I'm just feeding you. You're not eating. You're not learning how to cook. And so you've got to begin doing the research and understand that, number one, it's real. Number two, someone else is going to do it. I remember, I think I mentioned this before, Deion Sanders, one of his saying is, on every single play, someone's going to make a play. Whether on offense or defense, someone is going to make a play. Are you going to make the play, or are you just going to be watching someone else make the touchdown or get the tackle? Someone has to make the play.
trying to build that in the real estate space through a book, and then I'm doing a tour. So starting in November, I'll be on the road for 125 days where I'm going, all right, I'm going to prove to you can do this in Canada, and I can prove in every major city, I'm going to go do what I promise I can do in 3 hours or less. So what I'm doing is starting in November, and you guys want to see the tour dates, it's whereispace.com. I'm going to find somebody in that city that's a single mom, a dad with 2 jobs, a veteran, a whatever, one of these core people. And I then have a shot clock. I have 3 hours to help them get a deal. That's
okay. So little background on me. Myself and my other partner in real estate, we did that. We went on a tour across the country and showed people how to buy foreclosures. Robin she worked the front registration desk, and we had a couple other people, and people would pay big money to come sit down and have me go through and show them step by single step. It was a two-day thing, 8 hours each day. I mean, it was the most comprehensive thing you could imagine. And then, people were like, this actually works. Yeah, once you apply yourself to doing it, it actually works. I'm too old. I'm not looking to go around the country anymore, but what he's saying is absolutely true. And then once you do it, you can see in the audience the faces that are there. You're like, that person's going to make it happen. That person wasted their money. Thank you. But other than that, it's very repetitive in terms of do this, do that. And then as part of the seminar, I would say what he just said. All right, so we're done here. I'm going to stay tomorrow, and we're going to take a bus around a neighborhood. And as I go around in this bus, I'm going to show you specifically how I'm picking the house. I used to say, yeah, I could parachute into just about any location in the country and within 3 or 4 hours find a deal. That's where I would like to see if you would like to get to.
Yeah, and I do that 125 days in a row to prove that people can do it. I'm documenting it, giving it away. And you know what will happen? People will watch the content and still not do anything about it. I don't know the answer to that. I wish I had a magic pill. I wish somebody could figure that out. We did a survey that like 99% of people watching YouTube content don't ever do anything with the content they learn.
90% of people never do anything, which makes it, instead of being discouraged, it should make you understand the opportunity. If most people aren't going to do it, that means you have a huge opportunity to actually do it.
Take notes, this is great, but then they don't do anything, right? Do you have an answer for that? Why you think people don't take action?
Dave Ramsey says it's because they don't believe the result. They don't have faith that they'll get a result if they followed it.
I think it's even one step further beyond that. I think that that's definitely true. Dave is like very, very smart guy. I think it's also they feel like they don't deserve the result. I think
that's it. If you've never been highly rewarded for something, and nobody you know has been highly rewarded for something, it doesn't seem real. Doesn't matter what I say, doesn't matter what Pace says, doesn't matter what Patrick Bet-David says, doesn't matter what Grant Cardone says. If you personally have never experienced it, it's very hard to convince people. So that's why that motivation and that mindset is so important, because you have to believe. You have to believe you can do it.
Like self-esteem issues, imposter syndrome, fear of success. Nobody in my world made millions of dollars, so that's not possible for me. So I see people go take action, right? Like, I'm not talking about like my community, but people in my YouTube audience go, hey, I tried the thing, and they will purposely go out of their way to like prove to themselves they can't do it. They'll sell.
That's sick. That's absolutely sick. You're seeing it in politics. I can't do it, and so none of you should be able to do it. Those bad people with all that money. Instead of, like I've said many times on this show, why aren't Democrats actually saying, I can show you how to do this, instead of saying, bad people over there making money and you don't, and we'll take care of you. And they surround themselves, as you saw yesterday, with an entire crowd of people who think it's bad that you don't want to conform. People have asked in the chat who this guy is. The guy talking with the baseball hat is Pace Morby. And the other guy is with the glasses is Graham Stephan. He's got a big YouTube channel, and his partner is James Jack Selby.
Sabotage. And I think it's a belief system. I like that. I like what Dave said. They don't believe the result is possible for them. And then even if it is possible for them, they feel like they don't deserve it.
So that's something you're going to have to look in the mirror and say, is it possible next month or 2 months from now? Or if, let's say, take the quarter off because of holidays, and you said, you know what, I'm going to make an extra $5,000 a month in January, starting in January. And then, I don't know, by April, I'd like to make an extra $7,500 a month. If you sit here right now, look yourself in the mirror, I'm looking at a camera, if you look yourself in the mirror and say, I am going to make an extra $5,000 a month beginning in January. Or are you someone who would say, I wonder if I could make $5,000 a month beginning in January. I wonder, should I even try to make an extra $5,000 a month in January? Both of those are self-limiting. There's not a single player that comes out of any locker room and says, I hope we lose by just 10 points today. The reason why you see people bust through the paper and scream and smoke and they're all like this at the beginning of the game, because all week long the coach is telling them you can win. And even like the Dolphins suck and you lose, you're 1-6. The next Sunday when they run out the tunnel, they think they can win. If you don't think you can win, don't put on the helmet. If you don't think you deserve to win, don't put on the helmet. Get out of the locker room. You're toxic. If you don't think you can make $5,000 extra per month than what you're making right now by January, turn it off. Or give yourself a couple days to realize that you can.
I'm curious, for the education business, are you making good money teaching people how to do this?
I'm not an educator. The way I would look at it is people go, do you have a mentorship program? No, I don't have a mentorship program. Do you have coaching? Do you have like a course? All my courses I give away for free. What I do is I have I have a private community, kind of like a country club of real estate that you join one time and you're in for life. I make a lot of money from doing that. I bought $100 million in real estate from them last year. So I make a lot of money from them. The cost to be a coach, like, do you guys see all the coaches like quitting right now?
No.
Oh, it's true. It's like, oh yeah, you're not in that space. Most coaches and mentors that are like selling information have all kind of gone away in real estate. I don't sell coaching. I don't sell mentorships. I have a paid community for sure, but I do deals with those people and that's where I make my money. So like Gordon, the guy who watched us, I'll probably buy 10 deals with Gordon this year. And he made on the last deal I did with Gordon, he made $22,500 bringing the deal to me, but I'll make hundreds of $1,000s on one deal with Gordon. So
see that sometimes limits people. They see what the other guy's making and they're like, wait a minute, I'm making 20 grand and you're making 200 grand. Yeah, that's how it goes until you get to the position where you're dictating the situation. The guy he's talking about, if the guy he's talking about could have taken that deal down, closed it, then he would be making the big money. He would be taking the risk. So until you're in a position where you're ready to take the risk, you got to take the assignment fee. And that assignment fee, someone paid you an extra $20,000 in January. How would you feel if you made $20,000 for just looking at a deal and bringing it to somebody like me? I'm not asking you to, but I'm saying that's how it works.
yes, I do make a lot of money with my students.
When did you first feel rich?
See, this is a trick question. This is a very trick question because it must be uncomfortable for some people to even answer this kind of a question. When did you feel rich? How many of you could answer that question? How many of you can define that word? And I love how, Graham's loaded himself, but Graham's asking him, so when did you feel rich? And it's one of those things as you begin to answer that is that don't be ashamed of it. I earned every single effing penny. I'm not ashamed.
I have striver's curse. I don't think I feel rich right now.
Yeah,
I feel like that I have more. You ever do this where you're like, I've done all these things on my YouTube channel. People come to you and they say, Graham, you've inspired me. You've changed my life. And you're like, I feel like I haven't done anything yet. Do you ever feel like that?
Yep.
Less lately.
Okay, but you have felt that.
Yeah, I felt that, yeah.
Yeah, so like you hear other people say you're successful and you're doing all this stuff, but I think you've maybe have felt in these moments that you haven't accomplished what you feel like is possible for you. You haven't done the thing that you felt like you were setting out to do. And so I feel like I have a lot more gas in the tank.
Hold on, where's my applause button? Right there. The trick of that question was for him to have answered that question, he would have had to put a ceiling on where he is. If anyone ever asks you that question, understand it's a trap door. Because at that point, you're admitting, yeah, I'm rich, which means you think you've attained a certain level. And that was the perfect way to answer. I'm like, I don't know because I'm not done yet. I still got gas in the tank. I'm 65 and I'm not done yet. Ask me afterwards or ask Robin after I'm gone. I'm not done. There is no pause button. There is no off-ramp going, yep, time to retire. No, man, why would you retire? See, one of the things that people ask me all the time, especially family members, are you retiring? I'm like, I am retired. I'm retired. I do what I want, when I want, how I want to do it. Nobody is telling me you got to be up in the morning because President Trump's going to be on some meeting at 10 o'clock. No, I do it because I want to. And that's what Pace is saying. He's like, you can't even put the dipstick in it. I'm still doing it. I still got gas in the tank.
Plus, you hang out with guys like Ken McElroy, right? Like Robert Kiyosaki's partner, and you hang out with that guy. Here's what's really cool about Ken. You guys got to have him on the podcast. These guys give away $1 million a month in charity. Like, I feel like the reason you should do well is so you can do good. And when you look at a guy like Ken McElroy and Robert Kiyosaki, nobody talks about that because it's not like viral worthy. But Ken McElroy has a full-time position in his office called the philanthropy coordinator. They literally give $1 million away to philanthropy every month. So when I look at people like that and I hang out with them, I'm like, I'm not doing enough.
Yeah,
I need to be doing.
That's why I'm showing this. Because wherever you are in life right now, you can compare yourself and say, I need to do more. If this guy's giving away $1 million a month, he's talking about Ken McElroy or Robert Kiyosaki. If they're giving away $1 million and I'm giving away some silver and some hats and some t-shirts, I got a long way to go. In order to be giving away $1 million a month, you got to be making $10 million a month. That's, if you go biblically in terms of tithing, 10%, you're giving away $1 million, you got to be making 10. And so the whole idea of wanting to help other people, that's your measuring stick. Are you rich? I don't know. I can still help more people. I can keep going.
That.
Would you say that money buys happiness?
Answer that. Before I show you his answer, I want you to, number one, maybe you can say what your answer is, and number two, what do you think he's going to say, or what somebody like me would say? Can money buy happiness? Now understand the perspective right now. Again, this is about mindset. This entire session is about mindset. Can money buy happiness? You see, most of us have been told money can't make you happy. What was that movie? Was it Wall Street? I forget which movie it was. It said, anyone who's ever told you that money can't buy happiness hasn't had any.
Yeah, I think so. If you can go and write a check for $10,000 to a charity or $5,000 to a charity, I think there's a dopamine fix there that makes you go, I earned that money by providing value to other people. I deserve that money. Now I feel great that I can go give that. So yeah, dopamine, is that happiness?
That was the trap. And I saw everybody in here, all the trap in here, everybody said, no, money can't buy you happiness. The definition is what makes you happy. You fell for it. You fell for society's trap. Can money buy you happiness? And everybody immediately, not everybody, but most people immediately think of the negative of it without understanding the definition of happiness. That's complex. That's eye-opening. Because in order for me to help people, I need money. It makes me happy to help people. It makes me happy to give Robin jewelry and presents and nice cars and help to Ashley and the grandkids. It makes me happy to give to other people. So if happiness means me helping other people, then money makes me happy. And everybody, not everybody, but a lot of people are like, no, money can't make you happy. You thought of it the wrong way. You walk steadfast into society's trap. Define happiness before you realize what it costs. And I know some of you are like, wait a second, I walked dead into that. No, money can't buy you happiness. Oh, no, it can't. Really? What makes you happy? Because if that happiness is involved in needing something to do to make it happy, notice what he said and what I said. None of that was buying something for me. I want to give Robin jewelry. I want her to we go on trips. I want to make sure that Ashley and the grandkids can do what they want and that they're safe and they have everything they need and the kids are set up for college. And I want to give people hats and t-shirts. And by the way, like this t-shirt? This is one of our sponsors, Bearskin. I want to do these things. I want to give and help other people. I'm doing it right now. I'm giving you my time. I'm giving you my time because sponsors are paying me so that I can do this show. So can money make me happy? You're damn right. It's all about what your happiness is. But society tells you, oh, money can't buy you happiness. How do you know what my happiness is? I didn't say I needed to have a Humvee. I didn't say I needed to have a Cybertruck. I'd like one. They ain't going to make me happy. You know what makes me happy? Making other people happy. I told you before. You guys walked right into it. I told you on my birthday, I like to give presents to other people. It makes me happy. So before you can say, A, define what's rich, B, if money can buy you happiness, you have to know what makes you happy. And how can you be happier? How can you do more? Whatever that happiness is. Well, you know what? My wife would love to go to the hairdresser twice a month. You know what? I watched my wife for 20 years. I'd like to bring in a housekeeper. That would make me happy. Can money pay for that housekeeper? Yeah. Then money makes you happy. It makes your wife happy. You never thought about it that way, did you?
And what are the highest ROI things then for happiness if you're spending money?
Having a beautiful house for your children to run around in and a pool that they can swim in is the greatest ROI I've ever had.
Damn, Pace, you must be looking at me. Having a house where the grandkids can come hang out like he did last weekend. We went to the Dolphins game and you can swim in a pool is the happiest, makes me so happy. Makes me happy to see Robin entertain them. Each of the grandkids has their own room, their own bedroom in this house we live in. It makes me so happy. Do I need it? No, I'd be happy in a condo. But we want this for the kids. Makes me happy. How do you get happy? Got to be able to afford it in order for it to make you happy. Stop telling yourself and stop letting other people tell you that money can't buy happiness. So I don't know. Maybe by now you've disconnected. People aren't here anymore because it's such a mind F. Everything you're hearing is like, I can't deal with this. People actually think this way? Oh yeah. If I told you what Robin and I were thinking about today, it would blow your mind. What we want to do. Because I want her to be happy.
That's good. Jack is building a pool.
Yeah.
So he's one step closer.
I'm chipping out and replastering my pool right now. It's like $75,000. And which goes to your argument of like, you should be renting because I would have my landlord fix that pool instead. Right. But I look at that 75 grand that pool is like 15 years old. So it's due. But I look at that. I'm like, that is by far the best money I've ever spent is having my kids. I mean, you've heard Elon say it, go have more kids. You're on your way, 4 kids. Go do it. Hey, any girls out there that are single looking for a guy that's ready to mingle, Jack.
What's the worst ROI purchases? You said private planes?
Private planes, horrible. It's different though. Like you look at Ken, I hope you guys get Ken because
All right, so now he's going to go into perspective. What's the worst thing you could buy? Private planes. And then he caught himself. Well, depends on where you are. Depends where you are in life. It will determine what's the worst thing you can do.
I like Robert, but I love Ken McElroy. These guys are spending, like their fund, right? They have 10,000, I think Ken and Robert have 15,000 units, right? Like they're at a different level that I will be at maybe in 10 or 15 years. Their fund pays for their jet. I look at that $200,000 or $300,000. That's a hemorrhaging. That is the craziest thing on the planet. However, at his level, he can justify that expense. Why? Because his fund will jump in that jet and run over to a deal that they need to get under contract that's in Dallas. And time is of the essence when you're doing these big deals. I think it's worth $2 million a year if they're going to go buy a $100 million asset and outbeat somebody else on that deal. $2 million. If you're buying, like same thing with Grant. Look at Grant Cardone. If he has his jet, which he's buying another one right now, and he can get a better deal because he's faster on a deal than somebody else that's jumping a commercial or whatever it is, and he saves $3 or $4 million on an asset, and the plane operating cost is $3 or $4. Dude, the plane's free for certain people. I'm not at that level yet.
It all depends on where you are. You just heard a guy who's making really good money explain to you what he does, and he can admit on camera, I'm not there yet. I have something to go for. Grant Cardone and Robert Kiyosaki and Ken McElroy, they're up here, man. I'm not there yet. Yet. See, that's the word that people have to begin assigning to their mentality about where they want to be in January. I don't make an extra $5,000 a month right now yet. But in January, I plan on making an extra $5,000. I can't do a deal that's going to pay me 20 grand yet because I don't know. And that's what Pace just said. I'm not there yet. Which goes to the other side of what he said. Are you rich? Not yet, because I still got stuff to do. All of this, as you're hearing this right now, is meant to let you know that it will never stop. You can always keep going and keep getting better. And let somebody else worry about where they are right now. Right now, you just need to worry about January. And I'm saying January because I'm trying to give people a goal to say, yep, come January, I am going to be in a position mentally, in education, knowledge base, to make an extra $5,000 a month. And if you can't say that to yourself, you're not ready.
And I don't know that I care to be. I think I'm at a point where I'll never be Grant Cardone. I don't think I'll ever be an Alex Hormozi. I don't think I'll ever be, Patrick Bet-David in terms of net worth. I've found what makes me really happy is just helping other people and having kids in the process.
Yeah, I'm never going to be Patrick Bet-David right now. I'm never going to be this person right now. Those are the type of things. And that's what I wanted to get tonight on our first venture here. No commitments to doing anything except to yourself. If you are in a position right now where you think, I can't, hopefully there's people in this chat that will help you realize you can. Hopefully, as I've been telling you, you can. If you want to go look up some of Pace's videos or Graham's videos and understand, you can. How do I know? Because we all started in the exact same place. We all started there was no house fairy that came and goes, you get to learn how to do houses. Nope. You get to learn how to do gold and silver. No, doesn't work that way. Everybody, it's funny to me because the communists in our government always say people don't start at the same place. Yeah, they do. They really do. Even if you handed somebody $1 million, if they won the lottery, it doesn't necessarily mean they know what to do with that money. So they're at the same place. They just may have a nicer car. But do they know what to do? Do they know how to take it to the next level? I just want tonight to be that when you click off of here, you sit back and go, I got some mind work to do first. Before I learn how to do this, before I dive in, before I don't pay anybody anything. You don't have to pay. Don't buy any courses. There's so much free stuff out there. I'm going to show you as we go on. I'm going to say you can watch some of my videos. You can watch this guy's videos. You can watch this here and just get the knowledge for free. Don't pay anyone a dime. You don't need to. We've all did it already. I remember who's the guy on my first course. What the heck was Carlton Sheets. That's who it was. Carlton Sheets was the first course I bought way back. I bought the Carlton No Money Down program, and I learned and now you can find all that stuff online for free. What's an assignment? How to use Zillow? How to use? I saw somebody go, I won't use AI. Okay, then you lose. Just telling you, because what Pace was telling you about was a program that he uses, and it uses ChatGPT, which is AI. So I can't make you drink water, nor would I try to force you to drink water, but I know where the puck is going, and there are people who are succeeding every single day, even though naysayers say it can't be done. Let's see. What do we do? I have a mindset that I am too old to start something like this. This has to stop. Because only you're the only one who's saying that. Nobody else. I don't know, Nancy. I would never tell you you're too old. Put it this way: if you can do what you're doing right now, if you're chatting on a YouTube video, you're definitely not too old, honey. Definitely not too old. Let's see here. You have to start somewhere. I definitely don't have a lot of money, but nervously I started trading stocks and made $1,600 so far. All right, so did you hear me mention how much money you needed to start? Did you hear the other guy, Pace or Graham, mention how much money you needed to start? My first deal I ever did that I just told you about, the only money it cost me, only money, was to get gas to drive around. That was it. And now with the internet, the way everything is, I wouldn't even have to do that right now. Wouldn't even have to do that. Dave Delgado, I remember him. I think he went to jail. Is Barry able to post the links for those interviews he shows? I will. Okay, I'll do that. I'll put that in the forum. If you guys haven't joined the forum, Ashley keeps yelling at me. She's like, you gotta tell people to join the private group. Where's the picture? Where is the picture for it? I thought I had it here. Oh, here we go. If you haven't joined that yet, go ahead and join. Oh, wait a minute. Let me move that. Yeah. Go ahead and join fanfareshop.org/group. There's 18,000 plus people there, and it is a free group on X. And I will post links in there so you guys can see everything. I'll get those interviews and put those in there for you. SV says we have currently 18,323 people. Nice, very nice, very nice. Terry says, Clint, I appreciate your comments. I can't do this, but I'm going to pass this along to my grandson. Perfect. What was that in the kitchen? What's Neo say here? Neo says, set goals and start your journey. Start. That's the first part. Start. Valerie, Barry, you're a great educator and motivator. You're so organized and have you know what together and jack of all trades. No, it's just because I don't know anything about running a backhoe. I know about real estate and I know about how to make a deal work. And one of the things I want to say in closing, just want you guys to know this. Never let anybody tell you that you can't do it because you don't have the money. If the deal makes sense, the money will be there. Scott, there's no other way I can tell you. You can ask Pace, you can ask Graham, you can ask Patrick, but David, hey, what do I do? How do I find a deal when I don't have any money? And they will tell you, every single person who's ever been involved in something, if the deal makes sense, the money will be there. Next week when we talk, I'm going to show you how you can get the money. And I'm going to show you how to begin looking at people, especially if you're taking baby steps and you just want to learn how to assign something, how to find people. We call them cash buyers, someone who's willing to pay you for a deal. You'll be very surprised how much money is available out there for it. All right, so I'm going to go eat some dinner. And as usual, kiss the dogs, kiss the wife, walk the dogs, all that kind of stuff. Before I go, let me see if they've posted President Trump's schedule for tomorrow. I hope this was painless for everybody. People didn't get all freaked out and stuff, even though I saw some people. Some people are out there, man. Absolutely out there. It's crazy how out there some people are. I love y'all, but man, it really offends people for some reason when they hear other people are thinking about doing something they won't do. I've never understood that. Nor will I try to, because it's not something I want. All right, so let me check Trump's schedule tomorrow real quick. He probably has landed back here in Palm Beach. I mean, he went back to Washington. Hold on, let me check and see if they posted tomorrow yet. Nope, nothing yet. They usually don't post it till like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. So he was supposed to land at what time? 7 p.m. 7:50. He'd be back at the White House. So he should be back at the White House. All right, let's go ahead and do this real quick. Barbara, mega fanfare family, thank you. Kui Ini O Te Ao. Australia is sending a message of help to POTUS ahead of meeting tomorrow. Let me know where I can send you links so you have the scoop. What meeting? Yeah, please, one of the mods can send you the link. Barry, where'd you get your shirt? Oh, this shirt here, one of our new partners is Bearskin. I showed you guys their hoodie a couple days ago. They also sent me a whole bunch of t-shirts. I love this one. It says Land of the Free and Home of the Brave. And I love it. Absolutely love it. So that's where I got this t-shirt. I wore it today. Fazul, no kings, an attack on our heavenly king. Yep, I believe that. KRO, hey brother, thank you for Bibles. It's God love letter to us. Indeed it is. Thank you very much. Neo, great show as usual, Barry. Thank you and team. President Trump knows where he wants to go. Comms everywhere. Steve, NVIDIA and TSMC revealed the new chip built in America. Ooh, that's going to be big tomorrow. Tania, Barry Trump telling Maria, I'm not a king, shows you just how strong yet humble he is. Those protesters are so full of it. Indeed. Critter, last October when Barry showed why he believed Trump would win, which I agree with, and then said to skate where the puck would be. I invested in Robinhood stock, up 635%. Whoa. Whoa. Pray for crypto, Roberto says. Hold. Stephanie, thank you. Chapo, if you think that having money is bad, make a bunch of money and give it away. Make yourself and others very happy. It works. Bingo. Metalhead, I'm going to Argentina next year for the biggest king salmon in the world with my profits from Barry's live streams investments. I went all in. You go. Helen, love you, Barry and crew. I needed this. Thank you. Raven Kirkendall, Barry, could people bring a real estate deal to you? Sure, but you don't know my parameters, so it'd be kind of hard. I will talk about my parameters next weekend. Chapo, we got into real estate. Sue P, thank you very much. Chapo, we got into real estate when we were homeless. Fake it till you make it. Never going homeless again. My wife does shorts. Wow. Sells a lot of furniture. She put that in quotation. I got you. I know exactly what you're talking about. Oh yeah. Silver purchase. Any chance you can get buying 24/7? I use Lear Capital, obviously. What's this here? Hold on. I use Lear Capital. Lynn Hengel, I haven't gotten to the point of buying homes, but we do buy vacant lots. Nothing. Let me come back to that. And Mariah, thank you once again, Barry. Thank you, Mariah, very much. Metalheads. No, Lynn says I haven't got to the point of buying homes, but we do buy vacant lots. My ex-boss, who's the billionaire I keep talking about, he has the strangest investment property. He absolutely loves mobile home parks. If I could find a mobile home park for sale that has like at least 20 or 30 pods, he'd be all over it. So when you say you guys basically buy vacant lots, that's fine. Your parameters and what works for you is what you need to run with all the time. Absolutely run with that. So I thank you guys for tuning in. I don't know who the night football game is. Maybe it's the no, I can't even guess. I haven't even seen. But if you're going to go watch some football, go ahead and do so. I will go ahead and play the after party. I was hoping to tell you what time we're going live tomorrow back in the politics realm. But we'll see because there's no schedule posted. So thank you. Let me know. Send me an email. Send a team an email. Let me know what you guys think. And next Sunday, we'll pick it up again.